public hearing.
Okay. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Commissioner Pearson, aye?
Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Commissioner Holling said aye. Do we need to have any introduction about what that's about, or is there, everyone's clear on that?
Probably should for minutes.
Probably should.
Does anybody wanna, Kevin, wanna explain it to them, to us, to the audience, I guess, really?
James Carter has asked that we move an RS 247 road that goes through the middle of his property, move it over to the edge of the property so it goes around and gives him the use of that land, but we still retain public access across that onto public lands that are behind that. So that's what he is wanting to change.
Okay, perfect.
And I think, just for clarification as well, is that right-of-way stays within their property line and exits, or enters and exits their property, where this map shows, right? And that also they have to bring that right-of-way up to current conditions of the existing road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any public comment or questions? You don't, good?
Yeah, maybe have Matt come up and explain what they have to do to get onto the highway there.
Always makes me nervous when you guys call me by name.
Yeah, always be careful when we know your name.
Yeah, exactly, like Ron.
Yeah.
No, so I did get with our maintenance station. We're gonna require a 24-inch cross culvert there so we can maintain the drainage in the area. And that we just asked for a non-tracking material from the paved surface to the property line. So we can kind of keep that track out from coming onto the highway as people use this. One other thing that I was kind of thinking about is, you know, excuse me, if the property to the, I'm gonna call it the east, ever decides to develop, we may look at this access as like a shared access point as well. So I just kind of wanted to, you know, keep that in the back of your guys' minds. If that property ever does ask for access, we probably look at, you know, expanding that to like a 40-foot instead of a 20, doing some type of a shared access there. Or, you know, if they wanted to use the, I'll call it the county road as their access, we would look at that as well, so.
Okay.
So that work, the culvert and the, non-tracking material, I'm assuming asphalt or whatever that means?
So the non-tracking material, we're just looking for asphalt road base, something like that that packs in there really tight so we don't get mud in there. We'll kind of leave it up to, you know, you guys. But we usually require the developer or the property owner that's asking for the access to complete that work. We won't be doing any of it.
Okay.
So completed by them, but approved by you?
Correct.
You'll come and do the approval? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
And just a 20-foot is what you've got on there, 20-foot culvert?
Just whatever we need for that access width, whatever, because I'm calling it 20 because that's what you're showing on your map there.
Okay.
You know, if he needs to put some radiuses in there so that they got some, you know, trucks, trailers turning in there, radiuses are just fine. So when we get talking the access width, it's really right there at the property line, so.
And is a stop sign required there? Would you guys do that if it is required?
We would ask that probably the county would, well, that's a good question. Usually the county will install it and then we can help maintain it a little bit. Just kind of depends on what agreement our maintenance station has with the local agency there, so. And I mean, if you guys think we need a stop sign there, we can, you know, definitely put one, but we wouldn't necessarily require one.
It's one of those no-brainers, but you can't make
Yeah.
people read it.
Right, exactly, so. I mean, common sense says you should stop, but.
So it's not required on your end, but?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Roads are a joke.
Any other public? All right. Well, then I'm gonna declare the public hearing is over. That needed probably the motion for that as well. End of public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Commissioner Pearson, aye.
Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Okay. So that's just public comment on that. We'll have a decision later about that as we go forward, but, we'll go on to our next item, as far as I'm ready to be, right? Which is approve the bills. You got the bills.
I've got one.
Yeah.
Two.
Okay, thank you. The bills today. All right, sorry. Oh, yes, they do.
What's the next step as far as you just approve it and,
Yeah.
the clerk's, I mean, does the clerk have a copy of it?
Hold on, not for sure. No,
Do we have a,
we don't have a copy either, so.
does Kyle have it? You do?
I have some documents from Vaughn and Amy, I don't know if they're finalized still, and I don't know exactly.
Yeah, we just have to have a public hearing, then we just go to the next one, we got stuff finalized, and get it done.
The next step is Kyle giving you the paper to sign.
No, I have the paperwork from Jamie and Vaughn, I just need to make sure that it's done, because Jamie wanted some edits on it last time, and so I just need to make sure Vaughn got those done, and then if they want to move forward with signing them, then,
Pretty sure Vaughn got it done, so if you can get it to him to
okay,
sign.
I'll go find it and make sure Vaughn knows it. We'll do that.
Thank
Okay,
you.
okay. We have our work aspect, we can do everything.
I feel like it's not working.
Jenny was on.
I can look at, on my computer in front of me, be able to look it up, and I could check in the whole drive and see if we have everything.
Okay.
I think it's
Fine.
okay, well, maybe, you can have my internet, especially around my laptop. Here we go. Is it an ordinance? If these are ordinance or if the description.
Gotta see that, right? I've seen it.
Hey Presley, will you scroll down, just, sorry, going 6 different directions now. It's down 1499 on this first one. Right there. The summit food, it says pursuit eating nutrition, and then it also.
Commissioner Pearson picked up on it too, it's actually inmate nutrition, it
Okay.
just had the wrong description put on it. I can tell that it goes to corrections because of the far right,
Yes.
that's where it came out of, but we just put the wrong description on it.
Okay. Tyler, did you finally get a trailer bought?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, a little one, yeah. I did.
I knew you were working on one for like 2 years.
It's in the
Yeah.
field, so.
Well, it kind of changed what we needed for now, but yeah, we got one purchased.
Perfect.
what is the project income for Hyde County EOG?
That's all the donations that Council on Aging has received.
Okay, so that is council on aging,
Mhm.
okay.
It's
Because
paid quarterly.
it's not in the department side,
Oh, it's not?
Oh.
Oh, well, you know why, because we hold it in trust, basically,
Okay.
county limits to 5 counties.
Yeah, you, you got
That's
this
why
one,
it's showing that way.
there should be one more. So 3 of them?
I only have the two,
Okay, I'm good then.
maybe they were all stapled together. Is there more than one signature page needed on that one?
No.
And then, let's see, what's the water element for Sunrise Engineering under economic development?
It's part of that grant, we're doing the assessment on the water. You have to have for your general plan.
Oh,
Remember
okay,
that conversation?
okay,
They had to add the water element to the general
To
plan.
the general plan.
Because of the state code
Correct.
change, we had to add the
okay,
water element.
all right.
And Sunrise is the one that's doing that work.
Right, well, for some reason, my mind went to the reservoir.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, no.
Wait a minute,
Yeah. So it's paid for by a grant.
okay, I know that was something else, can't remember what it was. Got that one fixed. Our life insurance premium, that's just every,
We pay it once a month.
okay,
We basically hold it in trust from payroll,
okay.
and then we pay it once a month. Same thing with the medical, you probably see a UHC.
Right.
Yeah, United Healthcare. You're seeing a big one in that one, so, yeah, we just pay it like the second payroll.
All right, I'll entertain a motion on the bills if you're ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the bill.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
8 unanimous, thanks Ginger as always. The minutes are next, on the item, agenda. I think I already sent you my
Yeah,
correction.
and I fixed that,
I think that's the only thing I really had.
and I just picked that up from their packet, and I should have just done my own thing.
I think we had the, you'd already made the comment on the minutes.
There.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's in this,
in the set.
in the packet, it's not changed.
Hold right there.
It still says lower.
Yeah,
down.
this does it though, bro.
I'll update the packet, because Ginger did send me the revised minutes.
Yeah,
I'll upload the correct one to this.
That's the only one I saw.
Yeah, I'll upload the correct one to the site, so.
and I think that's the only
Any other
thing.
questions?
No, I didn't have any.
I don't think I had anything else.
Okay. Entertain a motion on the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make unanimous. Thanks again, Ginger, on that as well. All right. Stetson, come on up. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. Little muddy out there today, huh? Got some muddy roads?
That's a good problem.
Yeah.
We need a little mud on those roads.
As long
It
as
dries
it's
the
not-
bone, wasn't it?
As long as it's not flooding,
Yeah.
we're all good.
All right.
Do you guys have a copy of this, or do you?
We got it. Should be on your screen.
It's on the screen there too.
I'll take a hard copy.
So how many miles are we adding this year?
62 tons. I got all the mileage written down, but I
Yeah.
don't have it on this paper.
better? Even
Way
with the,
better.
even with the rain?
It was way better.
So we just wanted to get this in front of everybody, let everybody show everybody what our plan is for the year. Sometimes plans don't always go as planned, but it is our plan, so
Kind of like rules that need to be broken.
there you go.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, because then the public would kind of know
Oh,
where we're
yeah,
at, so.
this is
very
really
helpful.
good. This is
Yeah.
really good.
This is awesome, so.
That shows what we've done in the past and the bottom, and it shows you, some of those roads get a little bit sticky, so we should, we got it outside in the red, which ones we're doing half, and which ones we're doing full one.
So that's the changes, the ones that are in the red.
In the red outside.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's not like we're trying to get away with anything, we're just trying to spread it as far as it'll go.
And sometimes those roads that have been done for 4 or 5
Years
years,
and
they
years.
just don't need that much mag,
they
they
don't.
just need a little bit to hold them together, so.
Yeah.
And we got some roads that we'll skip for a year or two, we'll do the mag 1 year and then skip it the next year because it's still holding the mag in after we've done it for 2 years or so. So we sometimes skip a year on some of them.
And your goal really is try to help with maintenance of the roads, right?
Maintenance,
And this is kind of your number one goal, so it's easier to maintain, right?
Yeah, we're gonna grade them 1 time instead of 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah, okay.
Well, this moisture will help,
Yeah.
it pulls that
We can
mag
do some-
chloride down in and
Yeah.
makes a prettier set on it. If you can grade the roads a month.
Yeah, we tried to grade them yesterday, but it was like pushing concrete down the road, so
Oh, yeah.
we gotta let them dry out a little.
Yeah.
Find that balance, but hopefully by the end of the week, you'll be able to go.
Thursday, we can start again, break them off.
Okay, any other questions for Stetson on this?
I think it looks great, I'm excited that we're adding a few. Sounds like a lot of new miles.
Well, it's a lot, but we'll get it.
I appreciate you doing that though. And I think most people will appreciate it.
Yep,
Okay,
this will be good.
That it?
thanks, buddy. Yeah, that's it.
I don't
Appreciate it.
think- I don't think you need any kind of motion.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Desmond.
All right, come on up, Eric. How are you today?
This will be good, right?
Not bringing,
Kevin, can you pull up your map?
I assume
Oh,
that's.
she's already got it?
So
I've got.
sent you a PDF of what I sent around.
If you will, just for the record, your name, stuff, and, you know, when you get ready to, just for the record, your name.
Eric Quilter.
Perfect, and,
Janet Quilter.
thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We've met.
We have a son named Wade, we like
Oh.
that name a lot.
Nice. You don't hear Wade a lot, but.
What? You
I
don't,
hear
no, you don't.
You don't hear Wade a lot, but.
Yeah. It's a good name though.
Get a little snow up there today, probably, on this property.
It looks like it, from the resort cameras, looks like there's quite a bit coming down.
Good, we'll take it, we like it.
We need as much as we can get.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I just put the, kind of boundary lines up, for my email I sent to Tammy earlier. Snow's coming off pretty quick, and, one of my first objectives, with the parcel that I own is to mitigate the damage and erosion, right, from the ATV tracks that have gone, and they just get deeper and deeper because of the runoff, and that's just around the corner. So, when I first acquired the parcel, my thought was, well, fencing, post and rails, something like that. But the more I thought about it, especially after spending time up there this winter, I think the ideal solution would be to use boulders, just because they're not as intrusive, it's more aesthetic, keeps things looking natural, won't impede snowmobile traffic, that sort of stuff, right? When the snow covers them over. But, because we've got that shared property line in there, it makes sense for us to collaborate on what we wanna do, especially since half the meadow is owned by the county, half of it's owned by me there, towards the lake, and if I were to put fencing or even boulders just on my part, just means people are just gonna go on the other side of it, and it won't do any good. So, we don't have a lot of material, nearby up there, but there certainly is a lot of material that falls down on the road every year, and that the ester in there, you know, above the grade in the campground. I know there's a big pile, I don't know, is that what UDOT stacks stuff up? I don't know who piles all of that. those
Out on the
boulders up there.
highway.
Yeah. Anyway, I was thinking if there's a way, if the county can help get boulders to the site, you know, I've got a tractor that's got enough beef to start placing them, put them around and getting things set up, but anyway, so that's what I'd like to talk to you. See what your thoughts are.
So you're talking about, on your property, this,
In and out.
yeah, so you show us where you're talking, exactly, Eric, if you will.
Alright, so, along what I've outlined in peak, so this stretch here, you're following the cursor, which is the most sensitive, all the way through the stream crossing.
Yeah.
So getting boulders placed along there, it'll keep vehicles on the road. I'm gonna start, as soon as the conditions allow, I'm gonna start the restoration work. You know, I've got a new implement for my machine, so I can kind of get that stair face, all the ATV tracks can be filled in, and get rid of the runnels and things, and then put mulch on there. The Forest Service hooked me up with Great Basin Seed over in Ephraim. They've got a mix that works really well within the tushers that they've used for fire restoration and other damage that's been done, and probably do those applications in the fall, just before the snow hits. But main thing is prevent more damage this summer, get that leveled up, and then, you know, you can see the ATV tracks on there, especially this section that goes down.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting really, really bad. Those runnels are a few feet deep in place, and it just gets worse and worse.
So just so I'm clear, so you don't want people going down that way anymore?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like people to stay on the road,
Gotcha.
you know, through the property.
Because that's what they use at Dr. Boats all the time. I see people do it all the time up there doing that.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it's not a boat launch and kind of.
Okay, I'm just.
30 years ago, it didn't matter.
Right.
Because there were enough people, but now, and just, you know, it just gets worse and worse. In the 3 years that I've been spending a lot of time monitoring the property, any summer thunderstorm, just takes one big truck to drag it.
Yeah, no,
There.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the county's plans are for a boat launch, but, you know, it'd be great if there was one right next to the highway, you know, up where the, be a lot better, where the ground's a lot more stable. The other issue we were trying to mitigate is the damage from, people camp right along the stream side. And they, of course, also use the woods as bathroom there as well, so we've got all of that effluent, you know, is washing right into Puffer Lake currently.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that we're trying to address as quickly as possible, on my parcel. You know, the county-owned parcel further to the east, you know, there's the same issue going on the Lake Creek entrance as well, over there. But, anyway, so I just wanted to cooperate wherever possible, especially because we've got that shared meadow space, which is a lot of good.
And where's the pile of boulders that you mentioned?
So to the S-turn, you pass what is Telluride Lane there, and then you do the big grade, the big step up S-turn in the canyon, and right on that west end, I believe it's UDOT keeps gravel piles and stuff for maintenance.
Oh, yeah,
And then
that
there's
sounds
also a big, huge.
By Mahogany Cove.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
old merchant.
Yeah, where the Mahogany Cove campground is,
Yeah.
there at the corner. And I just noticed in the last couple of years, every spring, you get boulders that fall next to the road. I'm sure UDOT cleans them up. I don't know where they dump them, but
Yeah.
between the two of us, we could put them to work. I don't own a dump truck, I think the county does, and we
So
can get them up there.
Stetson's our road boss, and, we haven't had a chance to get a whole lot of, plans in order yet, but, that entryway coming in, there's a lot of boulders on the mountain itself. And
Yeah, right at the entrance to the
right at
Forest
the
Service
entrance,
road there is,
and we're talking about widening that road and, making it a little bit better so it's not all potholes. I'm not sure where we can go, or how far we'll be able to go with it this year, but we were kind of talking about taking the excavator up there and a dump truck, and we could maybe pull some boulders right there. I don't think Matt's already come, so I don't think we can add, I don't know if you got boulders that they got just piled somewhere. I think we probably have enough.
Well, those boulders are just off the mountain.
Yeah. I don't know, unless they wanna haul them to us, maybe that'd give them an opportunity to clean the highway out so they can bring it up.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. They gotta do work, so.
Yeah, yeah. But if we could get you a pile of boulders, you could probably do whatever you want. I think our biggest issue is that, the roadway itself is Kevin, you should be up here too, so you can keep it, come on.
We just have to make sure that.
We gotta make sure our terminology.
The right of way, yeah, what do you wanna call it?
We have the prescriptive easement across that property.
So we just wanna make sure that the right of way is on each side of the road, right? So, I mean,
The
like,
whole
where can you
width
place
of
the
it.
boulders, like, how far can you place the boulders in the road, et cetera?
There's no deeded width right now. So it would be whatever the upset to upset, disturbance to disturbance.
Cause are you gonna have them on both sides of the road?
Well, I think ideally, that would be the way to do it, right? I mean, just encourage people to stay on the road as opposed to cutting down and around. Right now, it's, I watch it, it's a free for all. I mean, today's machines can go anywhere they want, and so.
Sure.
Is just to encourage the behavior there, so that those, especially let the meadows recover, because they've definitely taken a beating in the last few years. So, just whatever works. First priority is the existing, there's a couple of those tracks are really set in anymore, and so,
Oh, you did?
even just putting some logs across them upslope a bit, away from the road, just to keep people from driving up it, would be the first thing, just so I can, what I don't want to do is be doing a bunch of work on my property and then just have people come in and tear it all up again in the
Yeah.
afternoon.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've got to, but I also, from a long-term perspective, I just think it'd be a lot more aesthetic and pleasing to use boulders instead of doing a big post and rail.
Oh, and that's what the Forest Service is doing too, and it doesn't really cost anything other than your elbow grease and some equipment.
Yeah, if you've got the equipment to move them, and, certainly a lot of wildlife to move through, right? I mean,
Right.
that's
Right.
no problem.
Are you gonna post private property and stay on the road type of scenario, by chance?
My goal this summer is to put some, I put a few signs up last year, but I'm gonna have some signs made up that say, restoration area, private property, no camping, that sort of thing. So, try to take a little softer approach with the messaging.
How do you feel like the locals are gonna be okay with this, if they're used to going out there?
I don't know, we might have a little bit of pushback, but I think in general, I think they'll be respectful, especially if there's some posting, and the count, we're all kind of on the same page. I like the idea of the rocks and that, the issue's gonna be is if we have time to get rocks on our side of whatever, and then we've gotta establish what our width of our right-of-way is gonna be. Most of our standard right-of-way is 66 feet. So, I don't know, have you been up there, measured any of that? Yeah, so.
It's the timber
Yeah.
before you get to the
Right,
meadow section.
right.
It's pretty wide, the meadow section. One of the other things that I think would be a good idea to do, we get a lot of, percolation coming out of the ground along that road through most of the summer, and that's why it's so divoted and potholed, but, I think that especially right in my property, there's two spots where I'd like to put a culvert in under the road, keep that flow so it doesn't eat the road.
Right,
In good
right.
shape. So things like that, again, we should all work together on
Well, I think that, we went and looked at it 2 or 3 different times last year when we finally got our purchase money. And that's exactly what we said, we're gonna have culverts in here so we can maintain. And maintenance is gonna be, you know, a nightmare until we get culverts in there. So, you know, if you're willing to put, or would you prefer, like, that's our road, that's our right of way, I think you should put the culverts in.
Normally what we do is we have the property owner buy the pipe and we put it in and maintain it. Once it's in, we'll install it and everything.
Okay. What size of culvert would you
At least a 24, when you get any smaller than that, they just plug it off.
plug up? Yeah. And then how long?
How much right
On
away.
the width.
I like about past the road, at least 4 or 5 feet on each end, so people are driving over the end.
Right. Because when I was looking at it, there's a, where's your mouse, you can kind of, or it's not a mouse, whatever that thing, cursor is,
Yeah.
that cursor is.
Can be both.
Yep, in my world it is. I think that, yeah, you might have to have one,
Like
Culvert right there.
yeah, right there.
Kind of the target culvert zone.
And then there's another one right there at the edge of your property that runs
Right
pretty
there.
good, yeah.
Yeah, you can actually see that.
Yeah, you can see that drainage.
Comes down there.
And then I think we put,
Switch over to the,
You can click on it with that.
Right there.
there you go,
Zoom that in.
you can see that one.
And so here and here. Two areas.
And we got one back over here on this other side, on that bottom left.
Right, over, right there. Over here.
Yeah.
That's a really big one, that's one of
And
the,
then
that's
it
probably
runs
the deepest.
clear.
Okay. You find boulders, 2, you find how to get them to the spot, and then 3, you'll get them placed or something, right?
Yeah, and just get a, like, I just wanna make sure we agree on where they
Where to
should
place
go,
them?
where they should go, and, you know, if I'm gonna do any culvert work, how can I I know you guys got a ton on your plate, you know, I mean, I've got a decent tractor, but it's certainly not, you've got better gear than I've got. I can get a culvert in okay, but, anything we can do to, you know, cooperate to get things done the right way.
I definitely think we need to coordinate that part of it on the culverts, because if we're gonna do any kind of, we need to make sure that culvert's where it needs to be, in case we haul in the material and.
You can't get in there right now, can you?
I don't, we'll find out, we're heading up there.
Sorry,
So-
I bet today it snowed a bunch up there.
I mean, I was up there a week and a half ago, and it was surprising how quickly the snow's come off that south facing side, but the road still had a good 1.5 foot of compacted snow. It's been so warm. I think maybe it'll winter itself back in, it'll be great. Like,
Probably just spend time to get up there and check it out and see where we're at and make a plan, I would say.
I would like our guys to put the culverts in if possible. I think they would be able to do that if we can agree on that part of it. You won't
not
complain
gonna
on that?
complain at all about that.
And if there's some material costs back to you for the culvert or something, you're okay with that?
I'll buy the sticks, we get culvert sticks.
Okay, and then as far as the how wide that right of way is, we would really like to stay with what the county's always done, that 66 feet. Is that something you can work with?
I think so, I just gotta go up and look at it. It would be great to get, you know, like, I've gone through because of what I was doing on the upper parts before. You know, what I show in the title was actually U.S. government right of way. I didn't see a county right of way in the title for it, so, it'd be good to get some documentation on what the actual right of way is. The federal government has a right of way, it goes to Forest Service Road through there. But, you know, 66 feet, not very wide.
No. Yeah, it's not gonna change that
No,
much.
it's at least 60. Well, we've got,
Some of those
most of
places.
that's pretty much there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. maybe the timber farmland might be a little narrow there too. Okay?
Yeah, that's where people have to back up all the time, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think, you know, in the timber, as far as that goes, it's not like we're gonna go in and clear 66 feet.
Yeah.
You know, I think that
That's a tough road build, because the rock on the uphill side is what.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
chipping away.
The UDOT right away, isn't it, is it 90? Or 100?
300 on that highway.
300?
100 foot on highway.
Oh, 100, okay.
Yeah, and we generally won't take all 66 feet, but it's nice to have that option, then we can put in a good 24-foot road.
We'll make sure there's room for drainage and that sort of
You
stuff.
got cut and fill on that slope where you
Yes.
got quite a bit of width to
Right.
deal with.
Right. And
Well-
at some point in time, who knows, we might have power in there, or
Yes, something else to go in there right away.
that's gonna have to do that anyway.
Okay? I think we're all kind of on the same page, I think we just need to kind of maybe circle back where we can maybe go see it and visit it and
You
then
bet.
make a plan.
All right, you've got my email and everything, so you guys can have reach me.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you again.
Okay, thanks, Eric, you bet. All right.
Yes, will you grab this phone number, or just maybe, so you guys both swap numbers? Yep. Thank you, sir.
Lindsay, is she on Zoom?
Okay, just get her on. She just texted me saying what she's with. Is that the Alba connector?
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Hey, let me try and close this out and so we can see everybody, and hopefully it will work. Alrighty.
Okay. We're gonna wanna share a presentation, is that possible, to get our screen up, where that everyone can see it?
Yes, I think it should be,
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah, we can see it.
Just not our screen.
Yeah, I'm like.
okay, I think if you share your screen, they should be able to see it.
Okay, is everyone ready for us? I only see Presley.
Yeah, we're ready for you, we're here, go right ahead.
All right, I'll go ahead and share my screen. This slideshow mode through. All right. Everyone see this okay?
Yep.
Okay. So I wanted to thank everyone for giving Brian and I some time to come and visit with commission. I know Jen tends to meet with you to review everything that's going on, so it's really nice for us to have an opportunity to do it correctly. And moving forward, if this is useful, I'm more than happy to jump on any commission meeting for an update. But we just wanted an opportunity with kind of the shifts that are going on within the county and the tourism department to get everybody up to speed on the history of our relationship with Beaver County and the work that we've done, and some ideas to maintain some smooth continuity moving forward. So if everyone's ready, I'll just jump right in.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so I just wanted to, start with the history. So, we were hired in December of 2020, so, it will be 5 years at the end of this year that we've been working with Beaver County. We were hired by Michelle, and at that point, the Rambler brand had already been created by HUB. That's an agency out of Portland that Michelle partnered with via the Utah Office of Tourism, and they had come in, I think, end of 2019, early 2020, and developed this brand. And so when she hired us, the top priority was to increase brand awareness, to get the Rambler brand out into the world, and to integrate it into all existing content and content moving forward. So that was our primary objective moving when she brought us on. So moving forward from there, with the last 5 years, we've done quite a slew of deliverables and projects, and because those years are divided between the two tourism directors, both of whom have different agendas and different kind of work, methods of work, I divided the deliverables that I'm going to share with you, kind of things that we did with Michelle, and then when Jen came on board, we did a lot of the existing stuff, but then added additional deliverables to that list, primarily because Jen's role was split between economic development and tourism, and economic development was really her baby, and that's what she loved, and that's really what she excelled at in Beaver, and trusted a lot of the tourism work to us. So our list of responsibilities did grow. So starting in 2020, you know, our deliverables are broken into some major headers. The first being destination management, which includes, I'm not going to read everything here, but, you know, communication, marketing and strategic planning, monthly meetings and analysis of data, media organization. I do want to make a note that we do not manage any budgets under Michelle. We offer to, because that is a service we provide. We can look at a strict co-op budget, or we can look at the larger tourism budget. But she really wanted to handle that on her own, so we didn't have any say or any visibility into that. When Jen came on board, she allowed us to manage that tourism budget, and that's when we were able to really kind of figure out what was going on and try to make some corrections moving forward. But with Jen, we became more involved in the grant writing and the budgeting and the reporting. We've developed, I have a link here, and I'll share this back with everybody when we're done so you can look at it more closely, but developed an accounting spreadsheet which goes into detail on the line items that of all the projects we're doing, the invoices that are being paid. Year after year, we just kind of honing that process and making it more transparent for Jen. And then also, I don't know how aware everybody here is of the Backyard Comprehensive Plan. The Backyard is a tri-county brand, and the idea is to create a larger region where we can promote activities like OHC, birding, stargazing, and rock hounding, travel cycling. Because we work with Miller and Jewett counties, we were getting everybody on the same page to develop those digital products. So everybody has an OHC guide right now. Everybody has a stargazing guide right now. Issue is going to develop a rock hounding guide. They've developed a birding guide. And so eventually down the road, the idea is down the road we have this big backyard brand and a website where it's like you can come to this whole region and have multiple days of experience doing whatever activity it is that you want to do. So the idea was that we increase tourism in a bigger scale as we partner with it. So those are some destination management items. Does anybody have any questions before I move on?
No, not yet.
Okay, stop me at any time. Okay, so as we continue looking at deliverables, which you're all probably more familiar with, is some of the marketing work that we've done, which is broken down into digital and traditional marketing. So with Michelle, we started with some smaller digital marketing pieces, the Meta ads, Google ads. We worked with some third-party platforms like Utah.com and we engaged in email marketing. When Jen came on board, we really put more of an effort into our organic social media presence. So we built out Facebook more and Instagram and then also TikTok, which we like to call short-term media because of some of the controversy around it. We've also dived into YouTube ads, bringing influencers to the county, programmatic advertising, which is new this year, and that's been really fun. Those are streaming ads that you see on platforms like Prime Video or Hulu. And then, of course, event promotion, which is our Loyalty Club. And then with both Michelle and Jen, we did pretty much the same types of traditional marketing. So buying print ads, billboards, designing those ads, managing them, communicating with the third parties, designing posters, public relations. So we're in touch with the UOT anytime there's something new or we're on their editorial calendar. In fact, a press release just went out today about the museums in the county. So I have not dived too deeply into my email in the last hour, but I think I saw it in there. And radio ads. So outside of the management, we also do our marketing. So to be able to market, you need content. So we've done quite a bit with the county as well, which has really helped us get to know the county deeply, kind of all the great tourism assets and some of the beautiful things that come with it and also some of the challenges with some of the assets as well. And so with Michelle, we were hired to review the website. We continue to make updates as needed with Michelle and with Jen. One of my favorite projects was the Ramble Responsibly campaign. At that point, we knew that there were some issues with the brand, and we wanted to try to turn it into something that resonated with the community or showed stewardship. And so we built Ramble Responsibly, which I think you're all aware of, and we try to get that on everything that we put out. We've made it specific to different types of activities. So that was under Michelle that we did that. We were writing monthly blog posts and, of course, keeping that event calendar up to date, not just on the Ramblers website, but we also get on the visitutah.com website calendar. Jen, it's like tradition, like with the other items, once Jen came in, we took on a little bit more responsibility. We really upped the game in photography and video production. We brought Bruce in. His recent videos won some very well-known awards. His Beaver videos, I think you've probably all seen them, they're just beautiful. We developed your Get On Board billboard campaign, which drew a lot of traction. And the Backyard brand was created under Jen, as well as getting your film commission page up and running. And page is a small word for actually what it entails. We had quite a bit of communication with the Utah Film Commission, making sure that we had all the permits and forms all set up correctly, that the county was well represented on their website. And now, if anybody wants to film in Beaver County, they're all set to do that now through the Film Commission. Some of the other really fun projects that we've done are under the Destination Development umbrella. So those are the Stargazing Guide, and the Rock Climbing Guide, and the Gravel Cycling Guide, and the OHB Guide. So quite a few pieces of content development and product development under those activities. The OHB also got a printed guide, and I know Rock Climbing's been getting quite a bit of attention, and your stargazing page, I think, is one of the best in the state, because I've looked at all of them. And it's certainly an activity that the state likes to promote, so we were aligning with their efforts there. we have a creative team, so anytime that Jen or Michelle needed something creative, we had our staff to do that. So posters, we recently updated your logos to include Beaver County in every one of them. That's going to be printed guide, like I mentioned, if you wanted swag. Recently Jen wanted some new icons, that represent every activity and that also had Beaver County on them. So, those are things that we do as well. So that was just an overview of kind of all the work that we've done and what we're capable of, and really we were available to step in at any time and help. More recently, Jen accomplish anything that she dreamed or wished of. I know I was on her speed dial and would get calls sometimes at 5:30 when it came to her, when we would have some really good discussions. Jen was really always fun to talk to about tourism because she was smart and she just had a lot of great insights and we had some really enlightening conversations about promoting tourism in the county as well as managing it. So if anybody has any questions about the deliverables, I'm happy to answer them. Okay, great. Well then, what I'd like to do then is hand the conversation over to Brian. We're going to talk about why investing in tourism is great for the county, what it does to drive as it works as an economic driver for the county, if you will.
Yeah. All right, hopefully everybody can hear me. Where I'm at, it's raining really hard, so,
We can hear you.
What we typically do, every year is we look at data from other sources, and, aside from our internal stuff like website visits and things like that. And, the state of Utah does a great job, via the Kem Gardner, Institute, and they collect, travel and visitor data for every county across the state. The data is quite a bit behind, so what you're looking at here is a slide from 2023. 2024 numbers will probably be available, and when they are, we'll get them to you. We do this to help tourism directors advocate for tourism and spending in tourism. A lot of times their jobs are questions, what's the benefit of having tourism? Well, this is the data that, folks like Commission and everything should see. $111 million were spent by visitors traveling to or through Beaver County in 2023, which if you divide by the year, that means, $300,000 was spent daily, every single day by visitors. Kem Gardner attributes 592 jobs in Beaver County related to tourism. And for every household in the county, there are $8.8 million collected from visitors. And that means for every household, roughly over 3,000 houses, that each household was saved from paying in tax. Those would be local taxes, almost $2,900. So that's an impressive amount that residents should like to see, is that, hey, these visitors are actually helping pay for some of the things that we're getting from the county. Are there any questions on that slide?
Not questions, but it seems kind of high, but other than that, I guess that's what it is.
It does. It always seems high, but it's always very consistent. So I tend to go with the experts who get hired to do this stuff and just present the data. Anyways.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next one real quick. So here's a picture of the TRT, the tourism lodging tax revenue that was collected. There's a graph that shows the years 2019 through 2023. You'll note that we came on, what did we say, Lindsay, end of 2021 or 22? Right around in there. I think you're muted, but.
We were hired December of 2020.
2020. Okay, so you can see that, you know, in that period of time, and especially in this last 2022-2023 year, there's been a significant increase to the tune of, between those 2 years, over 19% in tax, lodging tax revenue. So that means is that, you know, the Airbnbs, the hotels and everything saw a 19% increase in the revenue to their establishments. So some of this data is a little wonky because of COVID. COVID recovery happened in 2021, and then you know, normal travel sort of resumed after that. So that's why you see normally the 2020 and 2021 periods are kind of a little anomalous. Any questions on that so far?
Was this a trend statewide, Brian? Was this similar everywhere, or?
I would have to look and see. I think these numbers here are, sorry, the range is all of a sudden came down hard. These numbers here I think are better than other areas in the state, but I don't look at every single county. There is a way to do that very easily. The state has a website, and you can just pick the county, and they show you the data.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm? Let's see, do we have one more slide, Lindsay? I don't know if you created one or not. Oh yeah, travel spending. So this is, instead of just lodging tax, the TRT that's collected, this is what Ken Gardner says was spent by travelers visiting or traveling through Beaver County. So in 2022, 100 million, and then as we mentioned a little bit earlier, 2023 rounding up is 111 million. So that is a 10% increase year over year, in an additional approximately $10 million to the economy of Beaver County can be attributed to the travelers who are staying or traveling through Beaver. If you attribute all of that success to the Beaver County Tourism Office, and the ROI on that is 197 to 1, meaning that for every dollar spent by the tourism, Beaver County Tourism, the economy in Beaver County received $197 in return. Of course, it's, you know, the hotels advertise and other people advertise too, so the tourism office can't have all the credit, but we like to put that down anyway, just for fun. Questions on this ROI or the increase from year to year?
No? You got any questions?
Okay.
Yeah? No?
Just a quick question on the taxes generated. So our TRT taxes were $480,000 in 24, correct? Somewhere right there, close to there. What other taxes were generated to get the 8.8 million? And I'm just unfamiliar with the other taxes, so you'll have to educate me.
This is the revenue. So if you take the little bit of math, but if you let's round your number up to 500,000.
Okay.
That's the tax collected. Then you just divide by the tax rate. So the tax rate would be, make it simple, 4%. You divide the 500,000 by 4%, you end up with these bigger numbers. So that means that's the revenue that the hotels and Airbnbs pulled in.
Okay.
Not the actual tax.
Not the tax collected, but what the revenue was to get the 500,000 in tax.
The revenue, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks.
Hmm? That's a good catch, though. Most people don't notice that, so that's good. It's the reason we do it that way right there is because the number, you know, if you say, oh, we had a $10,000 increase in the tax, it just sounds like such a small number, but when you look at the revenue that came from, you go, oh, that's, man, it's over $1 million, that's a big deal. You know, that the lodging establishment's got an additional $1 million, in revenue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Let's see, so I think probably our last official slide is, kind of next steps for Destination IQ and Beaver County. So, you know, we're gonna have to, I understand that there's, you know, a search for and thoughts for considering new tourism director for the county. As a company, Destination IQ has been through this process quite often. So the company's been around since 1995, and it's fairly common for directors and staff and everybody to come and go, careers change. We provide a continuity in service that helps when new staff come on board. So we can shoulder a lot of the responsibility and training and kind of coming up to speed that new tourism director would need to have, because we have all that prior experience, all the ads, all the successes and failures. And so we can stand by that person and make their job be very easy from the get-go. You know, whether that's somebody internal to the county already on staff or somebody brand new. And that also includes helping continue to write and bring in additional funds through grants, as well as updating marketing plan for the upcoming year, and of course working with the staff to make sure that the budget is spent in a way that makes sense. We're really big about ROI. We don't want to do any experimental advertising. We want to make sure that the things that are chosen are things that are going to have a good return. So, Lindsay, do you have anything to add to that in terms of kind of next steps and thoughts for moving forward? No, you got to unmute again.
Oh, wait. Brian shared this article with me just yesterday. There's a trend with folks choosing kind of an off the beaten path travel, domestic travel. People are traveling a little less internationally currently. I think it's a really good opportunity for Beaver to leverage the trend because that is your audience. Sure. So we just added that just as that article came out yesterday, and it's timely. I will link to it after I send this back. If you want to read that in more detail, it will be available to you.
Yeah, the industry as a whole is seeing that happen. Of course, Canadians aren't wanting to visit the United States anymore, and international travel's down. So people are choosing more local travel, more off the beaten path things that are very well represented in Beaver County. So that's, I think, a benefit to being small and rural, is that we can take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. And affordability is a huge piece of that as well. So this article goes into detail about folks that are traveling to these off the beaten path destinations because they are more affordable. Brian mentioned some of this, but since we've been here 5 years, we have a really strong understanding of Beaver tourism, the local community, politics, which all leads into tourism management. And so I listed some things here about continuity. Brian touched on some of that. And I can go over some of these real fast, but the first is this deep brand understanding. We know the feelings about the brand, and we've been part of that discussion for a number of years now, and with Jen more recently, we've really been slowly rebuilding that brand to focus more on Beaver County and the locals. Shifting the sentiment shifting it all together is not a small process, but without entirely changing the brand, we are working on, at minimum, getting Beaver County better associated with it. So, and then, moving on, of course, the institutional knowledge, we know what has worked before, we know what doesn't work, we know what the community responds to, and again, we're focusing more on community than than we did when we started. We think that building a foundation and support from the community is really a foundation to actually growing tourism. We're familiar with your team and your processes. You know, people in the community, we know who we can reach out to when we need something. We've been here a long time. People know they can call us. Everybody, so many people have my cell phone number. I get calls at all times. So, again, you've seen that your ROI is continuing to increase as we refine our strategies. No need to go out for new RFPs, training new people, onboarding. We are in tune to local trends because we have on-the-ground support, just like that article that I shared. You know, since we've been here a long time, we have relationships with a lot of the stakeholders, and also relationships with all your third-party advertisers and contacts, such as your sponsors, which is your billboard, and Salt Lake Magazine, which we promoted, and individuals that we do OT. So there's certainly a benefit of allowing us to continue this process and be involved with Beaver County. And that's it.
Okay.
That's our presentation, and I want to offer any other opportunity and more opportunities for any questions that the group may have.
Any questions from anyone else? I think we're good for now. Thank you, Commissioner Yardley.
No, I don't have any questions. I'll reach out to you a little later, Lindsay, and talk through a couple other things, but I don't think we need to do that right now in the interest of time.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for being here, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So is the owl not working at all?
No.
The speaker bar was, but not the. I didn't get it, but wrong.
Come on up, guys. How are you?
Good morning, how are you?
Good to see you.
Look who I brought.
Druggy man from Salt Lake, huh?
Indeed.
I think last time he was at, I think he was at a big gala party or something.
It's been a while.
Is that where he was?
It might have been.
Yeah, they were celebrating
Some
him
VIP.
somewhere.
Well, you were there.
Not me.
We just
No, I think it was
heard
him.
about
We just knew about the
There was
VIP.
some big party going on in Salt Lake that we were invited to.
Were we?
I think that's where you were at. They were honoring you for something.
You were being honored somewhere. Oh, yeah. Well. Thanks. Yeah, okay, this is great. But thank you for inviting us to be here for our quarterly review. Number of things to tell you, and overall, we're doing well, and I hope you are, Nate. Also.
Oh, yeah, you should have.
My name is Joe Moore.
Because it's been so long, we can't remember.
Yeah, forgot you were.
My name is Joe Moore. I'm the principal investigator of the Utah Porch Project.
And I'm Christopher Batiste, and I am, along with Gosha, the marketing communications guy.
So, yes, all right. So, I'm going to describe a little bit about the operations that are coming up, and Christopher will describe some of the outreach programs, which are really exciting. In October, we were awarded the next 4-year contract to run from 2024 to 2028. It's a $66 million contract for the 4 years with approximately 20% cost share from the project. The overall goal of that project really will be to conduct circulation tests. And I'll explain that. In May, we completed 2 new 1,000-foot seismic wells. There's quite a bit of work being done here and at Fervo site, and it's important to continue to monitor seismicity. We lost 2 sites, and so we have replaced them with 2 sites on our property. And we are continuing to monitor all seismic activity. Our seismologist, Chris Panko, I don't think you've met her, is the state hazard seismologist. And so it's her responsibility to monitor seismicity everywhere in the state and report on that, irrespective of who is responsible or whether it's natural causes. So we are doing that. If you go up to the site now, you will see equipment arriving. We're bringing in a big single rig. We have a cable. It was one of the research and development projects, and unfortunately got stuck in the well. And so we have to fish it out. It's not a good term, but that's the plan. And so the rig is showing up, and I think May 11th, we'll have everything set up. And so we will clean out the 2 deviated wells, 16A and B, and the 3rd well. You're welcome to come up and see the operation. It should be fun, actually, to see how you pull equipment that's stuck in a well out of the well.
So do you call that tripping too, or you still call that fishing?
That's just fishing.
So hopefully you have a good day fishing.
Yeah, but we want to be careful what we wish for, but I agree with you, and the thing that's down the well is called a fish. And they have hooks and various equipment to pull it out.
My well diggers don't fish so well. I still have a sand trap in the bottom of my well they can pull out.
They can. And it's pretty complicated, and it takes a lot of experience.
And do it blindly.
Yeah.
That's right. So it is stuck, I think, around 6,000 feet down. Now, probably won't come out. If it comes out, it'll come out in pieces. More likely, we're just going to push it to the bottom of the well and call it good. Right? We'll also want to remove a ledge in well 78B. That's up on the hill. There's a little ledge there. It doesn't seem to bother anybody, but I just want to open up the hole. It's 450 F. So it's the hottest well we have. It's 9,500 feet. It's a fantastic well for testing. In August, we will do a 1-week research and development series of tests. This will be done by Texas Tech and another university. Following that, we will begin a 4-month circulation test. And the picture on the right is our 30-day test that was done in September and August. We're working on the equipment, but in this particular test, we pumped water into the injection well, pulled it out of the production well, and put it into our pit, one of these 125,000 barrel pits. So huge pit. In order to do this experiment, we're buying 4 pumps. These are big horizontal centrifugal pumps. We need pumps to pump the water in and out. And so those have been ordered and should show up by September. The overall goal of this test is to see how fast temperatures decline. Ideally in a typical Blundell, for example, we're looking at wells that last 15 years or so before they may need replacement, and power plant that lasts 30 years. We have no idea how long temperatures will be stable. Remember, we're putting water in one well, it's moving horizontally, taking out another well. So temperatures will decline, but we don't know how quickly. And so the goal is to figure out how quickly that happens. That's a major DOE goal.
Will you also be measuring water loss through?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So in our 30-day test here, we had 90% water recovery, which is excellent. In fact, that's the economic threshold. I think if you start to lose more water than 10%, it's becoming uneconomic. And so we were careful to consider water. And in fact, we have requested additional water rights from 50 acre feet to 100 acre feet per year. And the state will allow us to average that yearly over the period of our contract. This is great. It has not been approved yet. I think it still goes out to public comment, but this water is not of use to you. It's not potable because of the chemistry, so it can't be used for human consumption, agriculture, grazing.
And this is what I sent you guys a little quick email about to give you a heads up, so that
Right.
So is that a permanent change application or a fixed time application?
It's a fixed time. It would go to 2031,
2030, okay.
and hopefully longer. But, currently, that is the plan. Following the test, we plan to drill another deep well. This would be 16C. And we're not sure where it will go yet, or what its trajectory will be. It will be on the 16 pad with the other deep wells. Probably take a month or two to drill, and it'll be partly for monitoring, partly for testing new tools and technologies. I think probably you know better than I do, but Forge has finally seen the light of day in terms of the geothermal community. I know we've seen a number of companies come in and lease land from BLM, from the state, from SITLA. I think that is directly related to what Forge has done. Fervo obviously is now 500 megawatt power purchase agreements, so it's the largest of these companies in the world, these EGS companies. And I think very definitely it's related to Forge. So we're happy to be continuing the work. Hopefully we'll be funded beyond 2028, at least 2032 is our goal. But we have a lot of work to do, and as always, I appreciate the support you've given us. I don't know if you're aware, but there will be a hearing in Cedar City. Will you be testifying?
No, I think they let me off the hook.
Oh, not me.
Well, you're a lot smarter than me, and
No,
better
I'm
you
not.
than me anyway.
So I will testify at the hearing on May 12th.
Yeah, that's great.
2 o'clock.
For the record, what is the committee?
The subcommittee on energy. But it's basically unleashing steam, and the goal is to look at permitting issues, primarily on federal land. That doesn't affect us since we're not on federal land, we're on state land. But they're also, the committee is very interested in rural research, playing DOE-funded research, and so I'll talk about.
I think they're actually
Forge.
doing a tour that morning, and then the hearing is in the afternoon at SUU, right?
It's at SUU, correct. Hey, Christopher?
Come on up. Ah, there we go. So now your favorite part, what we've been up to. So there's a new face with us. You see the young man back there. Just wave. So that's one of our student interns. His name is Jeremy Parrish. He's a political science and communications student, and he's fantastic. And he did very well on his exams, so he got to come with us to Beaver County. That's as his prize. So yeah, it is a prize. Wade, he's a political science major. This is a prize. So, you know, we visited the classrooms, the 5th and 6th graders in all 3 of the elementary schools, and we did some fun hands-on experiments, and we launched our poster contest, and we're starting this week. In fact, in 3 hours, we're awarding our first prizes over at in Milford Elementary School, and then we'll be here next week for Minersville and Belknap. You can see a couple of the posters there. If you recognize them, don't tell them. But we actually learned from the kind of big one up in the right, something we didn't know, which was awesome. So we did a lot of fun, a lot of great stuff. Excuse me. As you know, Tammy knows that we had a tour from Sonoma County Supervisors, as well as National Association of Counties and there's a word left off, and dignitaries from Iceland, as well as folks from the oil and gas industry came out. And we are getting ready for the Beaver County Fair. We actually just submitted an advertisement, so we'll be one of the advertisers this year. So when Tammy and I are sitting watching the demolition derby, we'll get to hear something like you saw for a change. And I think that's it. Do you have any questions for us, any of us?
That was a good tour. I've heard, quite a bit about, you know, Sonoma County and President Gore being there on the tour. And you guys were actually front page news. Did you guys see that on the NACO?
Oh, it has come out yet?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, it came out already?
Yeah,
Oh, perfect.
well, part of it.
I was working with,
The online one, you should have got it while we were down you actually
Okay.
go Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
The NACO thing that was front page, and then the hard copy paper will be coming out shortly, and I don't know.
Perfect,
We
yeah.
might be buried in that one.
We worked on that one, so, with him, so thanks.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie,
Appreciate
yeah.
as always.
Yeah. No, it was a
Anything?
great tour.
Oh, good, I'm glad. They actually, Sonoma County, the
Have their own.
power company, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
reached out to Goshen maybe a year and a half ago.
Oh, really?
And said, hey, we're starting this new kind of EGS thing right next to the geysers. Could you guys tell us about community outreach? So we were happy to have them come back and kind of see it. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Excellent. All right, we'll go to the day.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So please come out, we're gonna start the drilling operations, I think the 11th in probably 3 weeks.
Oh, great. Okay.
So come on out.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. We're gonna take a 2-minute recess. Jenny, now we're usually so we're gonna table that.
Good day, Mike.
11:20.
There's, Ginger printed off these papers for him.
They're coming.
Yeah, I remember Ed was just pulling his hair out, trying to get a hold of the now for, like, visibility. Yep, same here, today. They put, falling or rain.
I barely received when I was driving back from Ottawa.
What else do we need to talk about?
Don't say that, I planted my tomatoes, but.
Too early.
I just have the big part of the information, but are you taking care of that?
Well, we'll talk to them about that.
It was just.
Whether we need to bring it to the commission every time to get it approved, because they've set aside the time limit to be used up there, so I don't know if it needs to be brought every time.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm not the same thing with, when I write a check out, can be reimbursed.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what in Washington.
Oh, perfect. And then we get all the other ones. 3 months.
installed right there.
Okay, just an add-on.
Is Kyle coming up walking? Is Kyle coming up walking? He must not. There's already fixed in place.
Yeah, I never tried to keep insulation. We'll just take it at a time.
We have? Oh, that guy. That's the guy.
Nothing stops training now.
Exactly right. Water's leaking out the ceiling, you
okay.
We better know
Yeah,
it's
okay.
Well, we did
Okay.
30 days, and
We'll have to
temperature
look at that, which I can tell as far as running water.
Why would we originally?
So,
That's okay, it's for the kids. I, you know, that's what we.
Well, depends on different kinds of. Cameras, they've been,
but it's almost impossible.
I would call, I know with them, so.
But I feel like I'm just. Yeah, and I don't know why we don't.
All right. We're now resuming back into session. Next on the item is, ratify Upper Lake lease termination.
Wade already signed them and they sent them out, Ginger, did you notarize? I can't notarize, I notarized, I did notarize Commissioner Hollinghead's signature. Sorry, I should have put these on here, but they are already signed and sent.
We're just gonna ratify them today, is that what you're
Yes.
We just did discuss, these are the cabs that are already there.
Yeah. And I'm assuming we'll just record, once you get back, you're gonna record. So we're just recording it.
They're sending the W-9s back, we'll get them to you, and then you can send the signature.
Yeah, but the termination, the lease termination. These will have to be recorded with the recorder's office against the property, so that they know that that interest has been released. That's the only way you're gonna, like, if anybody does a title search, they'd never know unless you.
Recorded it.
Yes. All of that has to go to the recorder's office. And that's probably what should. Well, these are all signed. Yeah, I would say, cause if you just sent them to the owners, yeah, we've gotta record them, so nobody can get it, do it again. Cause they're not gonna bring them back.
Yeah. Sorry, didn't know how that worked.
So that's Stephen and Sierra Kurtzik, and who's the other one?
Connie Hart.
Yeah, we'll just redo it.
Okay? I guess, I'll entertain a motion that we do that.
Yeah, so instead of ratifying them, now we're
We're gonna actually approve it.
We're gonna approve them to sign.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion that you sign the lease termination of the next property.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, unanimous. Teresa, come on up.
Well, she's coming up, I got my question. What were the east and west windows for 11,000?
They're up at the CJC on
They're
the.
the CJC.
But they listed them wrong, they have the compass backwards. It should have been north and south.
North and south?
Oh, they just typed it.
Okay. There, it just doesn't come under the department, so I didn't know if it was like the road department, like
No,
windows
it's,
down there or up
yeah,
there or
it's,
what?
that's miscellaneous.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't have an assignment, it's under miscellaneous, miscellaneous?
Yes.
Oh, wait, I better.
All right, Teresa. Go ahead.
I am just here to answer any questions.
So these guys already been working, right?
They're already working, we already asked them to do the installation. I don't know why we need to do this, but I don't know, we got put on the agenda, so here I am to answer any questions.
Aren't you amending the current contract though?
Is that what we're doing?
Are
The
we?
original bid, didn't know how much extensive damage was done in the ceiling, so they were originally going to just try and replace tiles and things in a couple of the rooms. But when they got into it, it was discovered that the whole ceiling was all rotted out and they had to ask insulation and redo
So is that
the
what
whole
the change
ceiling.
order
So
is that
that's
you
what-
sent me?
That's the change order,
Okay, so basically, it's in addition to what the current
So,
contract is?
yeah, it's just in addition to the current contract, so.
So shouldn't we create an amendment of the contract to include that, or, I guess you could, that's your call.
So I got a whole thing here, but we already did this, I think.
That was the.
I sent it to Dylan and Juan a while ago, and they were supposed to
Is that the amendment?
put it in.
I don't think this is the.
I don't think that's the amendment, I think that's the original contract.
We
That was the
awarded
original.
the bid, but I don't think we ever signed the contract.
Yeah,
We didn't sign the contract?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I think we signed.
All I know is I got sent and told to put it on the agenda.
Fine.
who sent it to you?
Dylan.
Yeah, I think that it's already been taken care of.
So is that the amendment?
That was the original though, right? That was the amount that I had in my brain of what the original contract was, so I don't see the change order anywhere.
The change order is in the email.
I guess you could just authorize the
Change order?
authorize the change order not to do anything with the contract, as long as, is there other change orders, do you think?
There will be, they're gonna build some shelving in one of the rooms too, so I don't know if that will just be like an additional contract, or how we'll.
Just as
Do
long as you
that.
authorize
Just the
that we
change
pay
order.
it, then I think we can get by with
Yeah.
not having,
And then,
They will have a little finish work on the inside of those windows too,
okay.
the new windows that were put in.
But this is the original, not.
Yeah.
and then what about the ceiling in the main part of the center, where's the, with the roof?
Off the roof,
Uh-huh.
I don't know what's going on there.
That wasn't part of the original contract.
Well, no, but they had to cut into that ceiling to get them roof drains and stuff where they needed them, so
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
they
we're
gotta
gonna have
repair
to
it.
do it.
they gotta repair that ceiling.
So how does the change order normally work? Because I have other questions on a different building. Do we bring those to the commission to approve
Yeah, 'cause
those?
sometimes you've got to authorize the payment of contracts, you're saying, I agree to pay X amount of dollars, but if you're going above that contract, you either got to do an amendment to the contract, or you've got to authorize to approve the change orders to your punch list or something. Because
Okay.
otherwise, it's like, how do you know that that money's been approved?
Yeah.
And where is it supposed to come from, and all the things that go with it. So,
And it's all been approved through my state financial person, so, I mean,
So we
the
have the
county will be
funding.
But you're
you have the
talking
funding, the county will be
what this part is between your contractor and the county of who's paying what. That's different, in my opinion, that's
Yeah,
different.
yours is different.
That's,
Okay.
you're just saying, we have this as our,
This would be between us and the contractor.
correct.
You're between you and,
And if I need to do things differently, just teach me how to do it, I don't know.
I'm learning
the ways of
too,
the
so.
county, So,
Well, that's your two options. You can either approve the change orders and decide where you want to pull it from,
But
or
we
you
don't
do an
have a
amendment to the
change.
contract, and
do we not have a change order?
We don't have one.
the change order came in an email this morning that was forwarded to me.
Oh, just barely this morning?
Mhm.
To me, it would be easier to approve the change order than to amend the contract, but I don't understand everything.
Especially if you've got a line item where you're gonna pay for this stuff from, that's the question.
Okay, what are the
They
funding
said that
comes
they
Yeah.
put, and any additional changes because they had a few different things come up in the renovation process. So maybe that is in this, that she sent over.
You think it's in this?
Mhm.
So then we can classify it change order one.
Because the contractor
take
doesn't
change
really have
order one
numbers yet.
and authorize how your payment.
So do you have this on file, though, the original contract?
I have it
We've already
signed.
We've already signed it. So there's no use signing
No,
this.
there's nothing to
It's the
sign on
exact
that.
same
That was
thing.
just a, that wasn't necessary.
It does say in the third paragraph,
Yeah, they changed the third paragraph.
so I don't know. if
Who
that-
changed it?
Bond
Your office did.
Mhm.
So,
They haven't changed it to any additional changes.
so you're saying have them re-sign the original contract with that change?
Yeah.
But that's still,
But they don't
like
have,
saying,
this is backwards.
this is,
You're all backwards.
does it change the amount, though?
They didn't change the amount.
Because the contractor doesn't have any other amounts yet.
Yeah,
with the
it
change
says
orders.
renovation services plus additional change orders and approved by the county. So, it's the same amount, dollar wise.
But if there's a change order, there should be a bid, there should be a price, so we know what, we're not just signing
A blank check.
a blank check.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have a bid on the insulation work, we don't have it on the touch-up work on the windows or the shelving.
I guess you could move forward like Ginger's saying, just when the change orders come in, you still have to just
Approved
approve
change orders.
them.
And number them, like.
And that's pretty much what that's saying too, it's just saying, you
Has to
know,
be approved by.
it has to be approved by the county.
Yeah, it does say and approved by the county.
Yeah.
So it does say that.
So I guess without having to sign this, you could just do the change orders.
And just number them, so you know which one you've already done, and what's next, like this will be change order one.
Let's just
If
do
you've
that.
gotta
Let's
do
just
one-
approve
another
the change
one-
orders when they come in.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, do you need me here every time to answer questions, or,
You probably need, well, who's gonna bring those change orders in?
well, can I just email them to Ginger and Presley, or do?
But the only thing is, we're not up there knowing what's happening. I think it even needs to be you or Tyler, somebody that's
Gotta
gonna
be
know,
Tyler.
Okay,
whoever that is.
okay,
And
just
then
trying
she does
to,
report
I'm
to the
totally
bond,
fine
too,
with that, I'm just
honestly.
making sure if you need me here or not.
I think Tyler's the one that's gonna be doing the stuff for us, your inspections and Kyle and whatever. I think, don't you think that'd be on your plate?
You betcha. So
Thank you.
can we give Tyler the okay to approve the change orders and then we can ratify them?
And if it makes you feel better, if we get a change order from this contractor, if you want me to have somebody else come in and look at it and say this is what they would cost, just so you know that you're not,
Yeah.
Getting,
I mean, that's hard to do when you've got a
I think
contractor
it-
doing a project and call another contractor in to.
Well,
But
I think
just
it
sneak
depends
them in
on
there
the
after
dollar
hours.
amount too that you're doing for change order, where this one's 5,000, policy says, you know, up to 5,000, you don't have to do anything, 5,000 to 30,000, you've gotta have a couple of bids.
Yeah.
Just like what I was saying to you, and then over 30, you have to do an RFP.
Well, how much was the insulation change order?
It was like barely over 5,000, like 5,000.
what was it, Presley?
That was insulation and install?
5,471 is for blown insulation in the ceiling and the walls around the bathroom.
Didn't we have more of a leeway? I thought we went above 5,000 on that.
As far as having to get
On-
bids?
on
Wasn't it up
policy.
to like 10 or something?
I thought we went up to 10,
I thought it was up to.
because it used to, I can't remember. Or did we go from 500 to 5,000? Is that what we did?
It's your again.
Yeah, I think
We're over playing.
I just wanna verify and make sure that he's doing those other rooms too, not just the one around the bathroom.
Yeah, I agree,
So-
because we need a whole project, not a piecemeal.
So, yeah.
Had to work closely.
I think we let Tyler use his discretion to follow county policy and do what we need to up there, and then we ratify the changes, so we're not holding anybody up.
So if it's anything over 5,000, Ginger, you want another look at it?
Yeah,
Or that's
we
what
just have a
policy
couple of
says.
quotes.
Yeah, I agree. I'll second your motion.
Was that my motion?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Okay,
Tyler, you got more work, thanks.
Moving on. Kyle's not here for this next one.
Get after it.
It's walking path maintenance is the gentleman who's building the event center. He has to, I think, allow the walking path to be used by his building, and then he'll put it back to spec. It's all, he can read that.
I read through it, and
It looks good.
looks like a road maintenance agreement with a
Yeah.
walking path, so.
Okay.
It does look good, so.
Do you want a motion?
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we approve the walking path maintenance agreement.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Pearson,
Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Commissioner Holly said aye. Perfect.
where's?
That does include us keeping it cleared,
What?
snow. I mean, 'cause that's never been,
All one to know.
yeah.
I think all this is just that construction
Construction,
part
okay.
for where he's building that,
That's why I was here.
the event center.
Something
Sorry.
changed.
Yeah,
It's only that
that's all it is.
section where he's gonna be blocking the road.
Just where
Yes.
he's crossing over it.
Gotcha.
Okay, I don't know where Kevin went. Got tired waiting for him.
You guys talked about $6 or something?
Yeah,
Yes.
so I guess I'll talk
Yeah,
about it.
talk about it, go ahead.
So, this would be a retainer, again, agreement for legal services on the Pine Valley Water Project, and it would be with, Iris Thornton. So, we've used her for years, she's very familiar with the project, on all of the EIS and all of the things that we need an attorney for out there on that project. So I would make a motion that we sign that
Okay,
retainer agreement.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Commissioner Pearson, aye.
Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Commissioner Holly said aye. All right. Next item, debate team, come on up. Sorry, we're a little behind. If you will, introductions, please.
Okay. I'm Braden Simmons. I am a senior this year, and I'm gonna be going to nationals in expository and impromptu speaking.
I'm Elizabeth Irvich, I'm also a senior, and I'll be going in HI for humorous interpretation. I'm Ashley Davies, I am a junior, and I'll be going in poetry. I'm Haley Nowers, I'm also a junior, and I'll be going in extemporaneous English.
I'm Loder Prentice, I'm a sophomore, I'm going in humorous interpretation.
Okay. So, what are you asking for?
So we are asking for the county commission to donate $125 per contestant for our entry fees for the national tournament. And in return, we are offering community service for the county fair.
Or any form of community service because our boat is in surgery.
Okay, you guys filled out any of your paperwork?
I don't know, have we?
Probably not.
Probably not if you haven't. You haven't seen it.
My only issue is we normally only do $100.
Yes, so the tournament raised their fees this year. I don't know the specifics on it. I'm just a messenger.
You're just
Vaughn,
saying.
Vaughn told me to do 125, that's all I know.
He just told us to come, but it did not show up.
Yeah, seems like a common theme.
Maybe you should ask him about that when you see him.
Yeah, when it's not here, exactly.
You could have got 125 if you just showed up.
FYI, I went to nationals with two of these students a couple of years ago back to Louisville, and whatever money you want to spend on these students, it'd be money well spent, in my opinion.
They do a good job, they serve us well, represent well, I should say.
So if you do community service for the fair, except for you, you'll reach out to Allison?
Yep.
She's kind of the one in charge of
Yeah,
that.
yep, we've all gone to nationals in whole group before, so
Yeah.
all of us are repetitive qualifiers,
And-
and a 4-time qualifier.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
And 3, or 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
And there's one more here who's kind of on the fence about nationals.
He's not going. He said he might squeeze it.
Yeah.
It's
So
Carter White.
Carter White, it's not looking like he's going to be going, but he's trying to work out his schedule to make it so he can go.
And I believe he's also a 2-time qualifier.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you gotta fill your applications, okay?
Do you want to give me a speech about return service?
About return service through the fair.
Yeah.
It's always good that you guys do in kind because that's giving back to your community. Obviously, a lot of you guys do that already, but, it'd be great if you guys help at the fair with whatever they need done.
So this is specific though, because if we're giving you more than anybody else, that
Yeah.
means you have to
That
do
means
at
you
least
can
5
make-
hours,
Yeah,
Yep, please.
at least 5 hours.
it's $10 per hour, right?
20.
20 rows per,
I think it's what we've been doing, right?
Yeah.
$20, because let's see, so
It'd be
that,
$25, like $25.
Inflation rate.
no, 125.
4 hours.
Yeah, we usually ask for it out for like $25 an hour. That's what we usually do for 5 hours.
Here's my question. I'm not gonna be here during the fair. I'm actually,
So there's a lot of other
Okay.
options that you
There's
can
not a
do,
lot.
but,
It would be 5 hours of service.
but we gotta have, like, see that guy in the blue hat walking by you, he
He
can
needs,
get
he needs help.
Yeah, I got all kinds of projects for you.
He's got all kinds of projects he can put you to work. You just have to clear that off and make sure that you do it. And so,
And other than this, is there anything else you guys need from us?
Just make sure that you have your name and your phone numbers on that, because we won't have any way to get in touch with you to say that we need help with the fair.
It's an issue.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
issue, so.
like when you need to be at the fair and.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we basically turn over your names, your phone numbers to Allison, which is the fair director, and then she'll reach out to you with whatever, whether it's with programs or if she needs you on site, whatever that is.
yeah, there's a lot of prep before the fair,
Right.
there's cleanup after the fair, there's
Right.
a lot of different options there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things we can use you down at the reservoir and different things like that too, so.
Do we want to report back from one?
Yeah, we usually ask for a report.
After you go to nationals, if
When
you
is
can come
nationals?
back and talk to
In
us?
June, from 14th to the 21st.
So, we depart from Beaver High School June 13th at 7 o'clock, and we return June 21st. I don't remember the time of that.
Maybe sometime in July, when you get
July.
back, one of our July meetings, you can report, maybe that
Or,
second meeting.
I wonder if we should report after we do the fair, for what we have the fair with.
Oh, there you go.
We can do
So,
that.
Maybe
so
the
September.
first of September. You can come back and tell how you did there, and what you did for the fair, and
Do our graduating.
all the business.
First of September.
That sound
Put
good?
that down.
If you left for college, then that's okay if you don't make it.
No, we'll make it.
What if you moved to Alaska?
He genuinely is.
Don't.
We'll zoom you in.
Go. Then
Well,
you
at least us two. At least us.
Okay.
well, then you definitely have to be here before you leave.
I will also do my absolute darndest best to be here.
All right.
Okay.
Rusty will get ahold of you.
Thank you.
Thank, well,
Make sure you fill those out before you leave.
Okay.
I make motion to leave, back to you. Sounds good.
There's 10 in the hallway.
I'll make a motion that we approve the donation request for the baby.
You can go into the clerk's office, just
125?
right around the
Same
corner. Go right around the corner.
Of 125 for kid that's going back to nationals.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Just tell Bob we only gave him 100 because he wasn't here.
I'm going to, change this agenda real quick. I know Candace is about ready, but I'm gonna go to Paul real quick, he's here. Paul, come on up, if you don't mind, then we'll go to Candace. She was on there, was she? Okay, Paul will be quick, I have a feeling.
I can do what now?
I said you'll be quick, I have a feeling.
Oh, yes.
Told me anything quick.
Yeah, what you got, Paul?
Well, we're changing the contract, or wanting to change the contract between Beaver County and Hamilton Communications for, communications systems up on Frisco Peak.
Okay.
Basically, it'd be saving Beaver County at least $300 something a month by changing this contract.
Would be more than that.
Yeah, that was rounding down. So, it's gonna be, the new contract is gonna be $400 something a month.
425.
Thank you, 425, and the old one was 700.
Nice.
So who will we lean on it then? Why not who to hold the 425?
Beaver, or the county road department,
County road will be the remaining one on there.
that's the only one left.
Okay.
So you
And
got-
how, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so all the other radios and everything that you've got going on are gonna replace this, right?
Yeah, that P25 system, yeah, that's replacing that.
Yeah.
So, it's, what was up there was, 2 VHF repeaters that we're not using anymore, don't need them anymore, so why pay for them?
Right, right. Okay.
That's a good idea, thanks for doing that. Straightforward.
So all you need is an approval on the amendment?
That's correct.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to sublease agreement and interagency cost sharing agreement in Fiscal Peak. First, the whole works.
To the county road.
Yep.
To the county road.
I will second that, but I have one question. Is there a way to move the county road to the new?
Yes, there is, but that's gonna take some time and a lot of expense buying, new radios for the county road on the new system, which cost several $1,000s a piece, which I'd be totally in favor of.
Okay,
We have that budgeted for them, just FYI.
okay, thank
Oh,
you.
just to move the radio over to the new
Yeah,
shed.
well, to update the radio system, because they
To do away with
typically
this.
don't piggyback on theirs.
Yeah, I'd like to get them on the same radio system that we're on now, the state P25 system. That's sometimes referred to as UCA or the 700 system, but we'll call it P25 to simplify it. That would cost at least several $1,000s a radio, and that, thus, if we can do that, we can get rid of this $425 a month bill.
Okay, but right now it's,
Right now, this is
stay where
this
we're
is
at.
what we've got to do.
Thank you.
Okay, done?
I had a second.
You
We did
second.
not vote.
Yes, that's right.
I did vote, I did second. yes.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect, thank you, Dennis, thank you.
Thank you.
Paul, appreciate that.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, is Candace on now? Hi Candace, can you hear us?
Candace?
Good morning, I can hear you, well, I guess it's about the afternoon, but yes, I can hear you guys.
All right, thanks for being patient with us, we're just a little behind, but go right ahead.
Yeah, that's no problem, I appreciate the accommodation. We're at the time of year again where we make grant applications, to the IDC, this is for continued funding, so the IDC is a commission that, serves to help subsidize, costs for rural, specifically with criminal defense. And so it's a program that Beaver has been already participating in for a number of years. And so I'm here to ask the commission if they are in agreement to continue with that funding and if we want to move forward with that application process.
Any questions? I think we do that, don't we?
Yeah, we can't live without this right now. It is crucial for our community not to have to pay as much. I mean, we just put trials against 10 co-defendants, and there's no way we'd be able to afford that many attorneys to be able to handle those without the help of Ms. Reed and their grant.
How much is the grant? Candace, do you know?
Yeah, so you guys it's getting subsidized a couple different ways. So, Shane Manuel is your main public defender, and right now his compensation for total compensation is $90, and the grant subsidizes a portion of that. I think it's somewhere between, I want to say 25, I don't know if Ginger's sitting there. Then you also get a subsidy for Michael, who's your conflict counsel. And then they've also stepped in at certain times and offered second share funding. So like when you had your rape trial this last year, there was compensation from the IDC that helped funded that. And then the IDC is there to help fund some of the attorney costs for all those cases where there was the I guess I don't even remember the TV statement, but there was I assume a fight or something to break out of your prison. So.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Any other questions?
No, sounds like
Something
we have to do, and we're thankful that we're able to do it.
Yeah.
No, it works great. Candace was great to work with.
Yeah, it's essential, like.
Yeah, it was necessary.
Those,
Okay.
I mean, essentially, those 10 defendants all have to have their own attorneys, and so that's not having to come out of the county's pocket.
So did you already pass the paperwork? Or was there paperwork?
I haven't seen anything from you, son.
Is it digital, Candace?
Sorry to interrupt, but it actually was signed, but in speaking with Ron, he said I want to bring it forward, and so at this point, it's just kind of, I guess, a conversation to make sure that you guys are comfortable with adopting it, and I've already got your signature, so.
Okay. All right, well, let's ratify that signature.
I guess we're comfortable with the document. I'll move to adopt.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Thank you, Candace. Thanks for jumping on with us again.
Yeah, thanks for accommodating, and then as soon as the applications are processed, I will respond to you guys and let you know if it was granted and where we stand. So, I'll be reaching back out to you guys probably in June, and we'll probably have to get back on the calendar, at that point, so.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Candace.
Trent, I think you're next on the agenda. How are you today? Good. I see you
You?
today. You still look good. You haven't got beat up since I saw you last.
All right, so, there's a request by South Central Utah Telephone for, abatement of some penalty and interest on their the personal property tax return that was filed through MCAT, just some confusion. They were going through a prior year audit. They thought they were supposed to hold off and wait to return until that audit was complete. That was not the case, so MCAT applied the penalty and interest. But Code 59.2-072A allows the legislative body to abate those penalty and interest if you choose so. And I believe that they would have filed it if there was not that miscommunication, so I recommend that it be abated.
So we're just talking the 7,000.
Yeah, 79,0168, the total of the two.
Go back up to that menu.
And they haven't paid that yet.
And I think if I understand that right, there's at least a couple other counties that were in the same situation.
Yes, and they have,
And they've
all ones we talked to have
all done
also
that.
made,
Okay.
it was just
I'll-
confusion.
I'll make a motion that we follow suit and, abate the penalty and interest then.
Okay.
And it's been said that these guys are good taxpayers in the past. It was just complete miscommunication, so I would second the motion and abate those.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make it happen, okay. And you'll let them know?
Yes, yes, we'll reach out to them.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Trent. All right, I'm gonna entertain a motion that we adjourn as the county commission and reconvene as the Beaver County Redevelopment Agency.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor, roll call, please.
Commissioner Pearson, aye.
Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Commissioner Holland said aye. We're now convening as the Beaver County Redevelopment Agency to discuss Survey Resolution 2025-07.
Okay, who's in charge of that one?
I guess you want me to take this one?
Jason is supposed to, but maybe Brandon knows about it.
He was on, but he's not on now, so.
Will we pop back up if we, you've got him there if he does come back on?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do my best not to slaughter this one. So this is a survey resolution, with a solar development agency, or a solar property, what's the right word? Developer to bring some solar into the county. This is part of their phase 2. They had some property that already had an RDA on that property, and then this was new property that would be in addition to the existing RDA. So instead of amending the RDA, we decided that we would like to move forward with a new RDA, and this just begins that process.
So you're gonna have two RDAs? Two RDAs, is that what you're saying?
Correct, yes.
So the original one will stay intact, and this is just a second.
No, but you're in one RDA, but you're at just another project within the same RDA. You're not creating another RDA.
No, it'll be different terms on the second RDA, so it'll be a new RDA.
But participation agreement or
Sorry.
I wonder if we're talking the same thing.
Participation agreement.
Okay.
So the new property that wasn't included in the original one will be in addition to the original,
Yeah.
under different terms.
So they're basically amending the participation agreement of the original agreement.
Except for we're not amending because we didn't want to go, the amendment process was more difficult than adding.
I see. So you're just creating an additional participation agreement for the same project area.
Agreed, there you go.
Okay.
New property. New property area.
New property, totally new property area? Okay.
New.
I just need to understand like what I'm spelling out here.
Okay.
So it is a participation agreement for Milford Solar 2 that's gonna be in addition to what their existing footprint is.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And I need to declare my conflict of interest.
Okay, on the map that has the one that is existing in purple, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but be nice about it, don't yell at me. And then in-
So the purple or blue, it's blue to me, I don't know what color that is.
That's purple.
The non-hashed, that's the existing area with the existing participation agreement. The area down to the south, which is hashed, that will be the new area, but ultimately with the new, participation agreement. But it's one project.
It's one project.
It's one project. So originally the project was 200 megawatts, it's now 300 megawatts.
I don't think we have to sign it. Okay, I like the questions, Ginger. Do you have any more questions?
I probably will. I didn't realize that's what we were doing. So
Okay.
I'm just trying to understand for
So
my own.
to put it in the minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because
So it makes sense.
because the way you said it, it made it sound like we're creating another RDA, and I'm like, well,
Nope.
Oh, I used the wrong terminology. I'm
yeah,
still learning
it's
all that
basically,
stuff.
you're just creating another project within, and you're adding some extra acreage to it of the existing.
Yes.
Right, but it is a new area.
New project area.
It's a new project area.
Okay.
So new tax parcels and new, and like, it was easier to do it this way than amend. So that's why we went this direction.
So the original one is retaining the same parcels, whatever you tacked onto it, look at that bottom part, that's what you're creating, that's what you're creating this new document with. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Just so I understand.
Yes.
Is it gonna be called the same?
That's what my next question is.
Yeah,
No, I mean, so I think,
There's been a huge confusion of what its name is.
I think that's up to Jason, but I think it was gonna be I think the original one was like Milford Solar 2 Community Reinvestment Area. This is gonna be like Milford Solar 2 Expansion Community Reinvestment Area. So it's gonna.
Because we went back and forth this morning and.
Yeah, it's whatever you guys want the name to be.
Well, because I was picking up on what your exhibit had, which said Milford Solar 2, or CDA is what it said, which is an additional, like, just 3 letters, different than what the other one was. And so I just
It
assumed
can
that.
be whatever you want the name to be.
Okay.
Just so you
We're
can,
going with that because this
just so
has
you can
been
differentiate,
kind of
right?
a messy, what's your name? What's your name? What is your name? Back and forth with the attorney.
So on this exhibit, it says Milford Solar 2 expansion.
Okay.
Is that, do we want to keep it as expansion?
Then if that's the case, then we probably need to amend the document that was floating around through emails this morning.
Scroll that down just a hair so you can actually see the close-up of the. So this parcel here, down on the Glendale Road or Thermal Road or whatever, that's the only one that's gonna be in this project area, right?
Yeah, there's three parcels, but yes, the hatched area.
Okay.
And there's one small parcel to the west.
Across the highway?
That's not part of the project area, but it's part of the same tax ID number, and so it's included in this for sake of making it easier to administer.
Simplification.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So is there anything else?
How many acres are you adding to it?
960?
960?
960 acres. Is that right, Brian?
In addition to, or is that like the whole thing?
No, in
That's
addition,
just, that's
That's
in
the
addition.
This is the
approximately
expansion part.
2,500 with both projects,
Okay.
both parts, both sections.
So I think this is where Tammy's going. The next step, we have to do a 30-day notice, and then we have to do a public hearing.
Yes.
The first meeting in June. So we need to get that out to the the 30-day notice out by the end of the week. So so we're ready by the first meeting in June.
Which is the 10th.
10th of June will be the public hearing.
You have to do all of them.
I think if it's on our website,
Two places, you can do a website and post it off to the post office if you want.
Okay.
That's 2 places.
That may be 1, 2, 3.
Is it a class A or a class B?
That's still 4 weeks,
Okay.
because the meeting in June is until the 10th.
so, okay.
So that's, so
So you're probably fine.
Do you want it in the paper just because, or?
I mean, I probably would.
I think we still have to put it in the paper.
Yeah.
I think did we talk to Jason about that, and whether it was a Class A or a Class B, and I think we asked him that question, and he said it didn't have to be in the paper. But
Well, it's probably a class A then. It's
we'll
shade.
find out for sure
I bet
before we
it's Class A.
post anything and make sure. But we still want to put it in the paper regardless, or only if we're required.
I say only if you're required.
Yeah.
Do you need to spend extra money?
I would say only if we're required also.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Okay.
So we need your motion on this.
What do we,
To approve the resolution?
The survey resolution, do we have that survey resolution?
I don't have it, that's what I'm saying, I don't have it.
I can do a motion.
What? I don't have it.
Okay, I'll put it up in.
I'll make a motion, we approve survey resolution 2025-07. And you have a second.
So, no, you have to check.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's, just have, before we do that, so just for Ginger's purposes, documentation, we're gonna notice Commissioner Pearson's conflict.
Mhm.
She's refraining from voting. We're gonna, pass the chair automatically back and forth between Commissioner Yardley and myself. He made a motion. I'm gonna second that. All in favor?
Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Commissioner Hall, I said aye.
Did you get all that, John?
That sound good? Okay. Well, we're done discussing, so now we're gonna adjourn that part of the redevelopment agency section and reconvene back to the Beaver County Commission. I'll need a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Commissioner Pearson, aye?
Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Commissioner Hall, I said aye. Thank you. All right. DOI emergency permitting update. Gloria, sorry you guys had to wait for all that.
Sorry, you guys have, like, the
You've been
whole
troopers.
gamut.
You've been troopers.
We've caught up a little bit. We're not too bad now.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah, we're only
yeah.
12 minutes behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a few minutes. So,
Yeah.
just for your records, I'm Gloria Tibbetts. I'm the district manager for the BLM Color Country District. And with me today, I have our new permanent field manager for the Cedar City Field Office. This is Jacqueline Russell. We're here to update you on a few different things today. First of all, just.
Gloria, sorry to interrupt real quick. So she's in Cedar City.
Correct.
Where are you at?
I'm also in Cedar City,
as well.
so I'm the district manager, so I'm over Cedar City, St. George, and the Richfield field offices.
Okay,
And then, so Jacqueline is now the field manager for that Cedar City location.
perfect. Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's fine. So yes, just wanted to introduce Jacqueline. What prompted our visit today was just some communications with Commissioner Pearson about the new DOI permitting procedures for the energy emergency. And so I'm happy to answer any questions, but just in a nutshell, with the executive order that declared the energy emergency, the Secretary of the Interior has followed that up with some more specific guidance on how we would actually implement an expedited permitting process for different types of energy production. How that relates specifically to Beaver County would primarily be geothermal. And so geothermal is included in the definition of energy infrastructure. Solar, wind are not, so they would not be subject to those potentially expedited permitting processes, but our geothermal developments may. We are still trying to figure out the ins and outs of exactly how that would apply for the projects that we have underway right now. It doesn't appear that those expedited procedures apply to any of our existing projects that already have their permits in hand. So Fervo and several other projects already have all of their authorizations in hand. Should we see any new applications in the future, they can elect potentially to follow that expedited process.
just wait and see, if any companies come in with new applications and elect to move toward that. It looks like there's a couple pilot projects that might occur on the eastern side of our state. One is oil and gas related, and I believe the other one might be related to uranium. And so we'll hopefully be able to let them be the guinea pigs, and then if we get an application at some point in the future, the process will be a bit more smoothed out with less bugs to deal with. So I know we had another couple updates, but before we do that, do you have any questions on that particular process?
Well, I know that there's a lot of speculation and a lot of new companies, like you said, and specifically in our areas is the geothermal, for sure, you know. So I just kind of curious what that process is, and if they go to you guys first, or they come to us, or, yeah, I guess it depends on if it's BLM land, and if they need transmission lines, or what, or if it's pipelines, or what.
Correct. So if there would be any federal nexus, so if it's the subsurface, federal minerals, or if there's federal surface, I believe they would be eligible to have that process in place. Essentially, it expedites it to an environmental assessment in 14 days or less, and even an environmental impact.
That's going to make your head spin.
Whew, yeah,
14
that'll
days
be
or
our,
less?
14 days or less, yes.
Yeah.
And so that would be probably our team locked in a conference room, feverishly writing everything up very, very
And making
quickly.
sure that you don't miss anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's kind of nice that we probably won't be the first out of the gate to go through the process. And so we'll be able to have some lessons learned before we're actually asked to move through that if we have any projects
Well,
that do come
in all honesty, though, I think, you know, the Cedar City Field Office and Paul Briggs and those guys, when Fervo first came in, like, really knocked it out of the park. They did a really good job for them. And it seemed, you know, I mean, it was a lot longer process, of course. I mean, it wasn't 14 days, but I think it went smoothly. You know, I don't think we've had any roadblocks or anything like that, so.
Yeah, I think both of the permitting processes that we've done with Fervo have been 6 months or less, which typically EAs take up to a year. So they've been very expedited as it is, just working with this particular company and trying to get them moving, or getting our process moving to meet their timelines as well, as good partners.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate what you've done with that. Have you had any requests for transmission lines?
So I'm not aware of any new applications for transmission lines. I do know that Transwest Express is going to be beginning implementation, so actually construction across our area very soon. But I'm not aware of any new applications.
I was wondering where they are now, because are they still in Wyoming right now, or are they started into Utah?
They're moving into Utah, up by Delta, right?
Well, they're doing surveys even down in Cedar City right now.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They said 2026, maybe 27 in Beaver County before they're ready to do anything in Beaver County.
Work-wise?
Yeah. I hadn't heard anything lately. I mean, we've heard about them for years and years coming. I mean, you know, because it takes a long time.
They sent us a letter now and again. Give them a walk every now and again. It's been a while.
You know, crosses some of our private land, so we signed off on that years ago.
So since we have a few minutes of your time, we thought we might give you a few updates on a few other programs as well.
Please do.
That might be interesting. So go ahead, Jacqueline.
So there was the geothermal lease sales, there's 4.5 parcels, that were located in Beaver County, and so, I don't have the acres right off the top of my head, but, as any requests come in or applications, there will be a lot more communication between everyone and environmental analysis. There's several field treatments, scheduled in this fiscal year. In Beaver County, there's 50 acres have already completed in Little Valley Hollow, 1,950 acres scheduled in September for Anderson Mountain, and there's a few other projects. 550 acres for Little Valley Hollow Phase 2, and 1,300 acres for Stewart Springs. There's another project scheduled for next fiscal year. There's a few needs that are in the process right now to open up a lot more space to do some projects.
Have you had any requests on? I hear a lot coming out of Nevada, and I I can't remember what the terminology, I don't know, maybe Kevin knows, where it's the P&J treatment, but they're using it for the jet fuel.
Oh, biofuel?
Biofuel.
Yes.
Yeah, have you had any requests like that at all on that kind of stuff?
No, we've had speculators over the years. They used to work in Nevada too, and we have speculators there occasionally as well. There's a lot of fuel. Obviously, we have a lot of pinyon and juniper in excess, in a lot of locations here and in Nevada. But it's the transportation that's always the barrier,
Right.
because it's so far from where you would actually use it.
Right.
And so I haven't heard of anybody who's figured out the economics on that, to bring forward an application. But yeah, it's been very
We
quiet.
had somebody come and present to us.
Yeah, a couple years
A
ago.
couple years ago, they were like gung ho, but also they just disappeared.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
there was a federal funding incentive
Yes, there was.
somewhere.
So everybody was chasing that.
And I don't know if it fell through the cracks or, you know, this was, you know, there's a big group in Nevada, I can hear from them occasionally, but they're close to the railroad tracks, and that's why they thought where our tracks come through Milford and we were doing the inland port and all that, they wanted to kind of partner with us, and I thought, should have talked to DNR 15 years ago before they started doing all the treatments, you know, I wish we'd had that in place, but, yeah, I was just curious.
We haven't been approached. Obviously, we'd be open to the conversation. Our fields team has been very productive, doing thousands and thousands of acres per year, but there is always a never-ending supply of areas that could be treated to improve habitat.
It's a
and use
renewable
fuel.
resource, right?
Absolutely.
How do you choose what spots you do? What's your decision making there?
Yeah, there's multiple factors that we take into account. A lot of it is related to hazardous fuels, so areas of the wildland-urban interface.
Okay.
That's a primary area of focus, but many of our projects, in fact, all of our projects, we try to implement multiple objectives. So we work very closely with DWR to look at watersheds, wildlife habitat, just native vegetation, all kinds of other factors, and we work so closely with our state and local partners on that as well.
Is there any way we could move that to the 14-day expedited?
You know, that's not up to us to change those processes, but anything that creates efficiencies for us to get more done, you know, especially proactive treatment on the ground, we're all for expedited processes that do not cut corners. Absolutely. So, have at it.
Okay.
One other quick question. I'm the new public land chairman for UAC, for the Association of Counties, and so we had our public land, well, technically it's called the Natural Resource Committee now, but it's gonna always be public lands in my head. Anyway, I've been pretty good friends for probably the last 10 years with John Raby, who's your acting or interim or whatever his actual title is. So he called in to our meeting the other day, and I was out in DC in March and actually got to sit down and talk to him on the new administrations and some of their stuff. One of the things that he talked about was targeted grazing and trying to figure out how we could use flexible dates on our on and off. And, you know, it's always been told to me, and this is just hardcore, the dates are the dates, and the only way you can change that is with your permit renewal. But John's really looking at trying to figure that out, because like this year of all years, I said we could have been on our summer range all winter. I mean, literally, could have been on the summer range all winter, and actually put a dent in some of that old fire, you know, fire rehab from the early 2000s that we don't, I mean, we barely touch it, because they just eat all the new stuff. But if it was wet and had snow on it, you know, you could figure out ways of having cattle on a longer time period. Even DWR is like, if you guys could graze that down, you know, it's better for the wildlife, whatever. But when it's dry in the summer and, you know, that you get that old growth in there, and it's just decadent old grass, and they eat around the fringe on the green, and then move on to something else. But can you see any kind of a window of opportunity that we can do that, that is not tied specifically to your dates on your lease permit?
I do not know the answer to that, but I will find out for you. Let me talk to our rangeland management specialist. They know the regulations much more closely than I do.
I think the language, if I remember, is targeted grazing.
Yeah. And I wrote that down. We'll check in with our range team when we get back to the office, and we'll absolutely explore that for sure.
Yeah, 'cause I know this has been one of those issues, I mean, I've had it for, we're running on, you know, almost 30 years on the old lease agreement, because somebody's got a hold on our permit, right? Or a permit agreement. But, the conversations we have at a 30,000 foot level and the ones that we're having here on the ground are totally different.
Absolutely.
And so I need somebody to blow the doors off and figure that out.
We've got the right team to do it. We'll figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
And
Sorry,
Lori,
interrupted.
just one more comment. On the expedited permitting for the geothermal, I would just ask that you keep in mind that there are impacts when people come onto the rangeland, so I don't want to get the misperception that I'm against energy. I love what Burlow's doing out there. I'm the permittee on that allotment. There's been a few misunderstandings, and Mitch Bayless has been great to help us work through that, and Forge has been really good to work with. But just remember, there is impacts when people come on. One thing that I would like to see is when they come onto the allotment, if there's some way that we can have them help with some projects to move the cows away from the impacted areas.
Okay.
I get phone calls all the time of, your cows are on the drill pad. Well, that's their house, that's where they live, they can, you know, if you don't want them there, you're gonna have to put a fence up. If you wanna move them away from the roads, then let's put a project in and put some water troughs somewhere else so they don't hang around the mud puddles on the road. So, and we've been able to educate them, each other, and learn from each other, but I think that would be really helpful in the future, is to have them come up with some money to put in some rangeland projects, so.
Well, we certainly are always trying to adapt our mitigation measures to be the most effective, to address the issues and be beneficial for the multiple uses we have out on that landscape. And so that's really helpful, and hopefully we can continue that conversation and come up with some good ideas.
Thank you.
I think there were some more updates as well, right?
Our team just completed 4 small nuisance gathers out near 4 Mile Herd Management area. They picked up 4 new horses, and there's one other gather that's gonna grab another 18 by Blue Spring. But those are bait and trap methods, so they've been really successful for them.
Great, good deal.
All private land.
Yeah.
We got some projects we're working on, special recreation permit amendment, for the Beaver County ATV Jamboree SRP. And then there's a couple of scheduled events coming up, in September.
The bike races.
Bike races.
Bike courses, yeah.
And it sounds like the High Desert Trail is moving along, they're going to the state's moving to contracting, and they're going to kick off internal scoping, with the BLM team and the contractor next month. Moving along.
Excellent.
There's a bunch of really great range improvement projects that have been going on. They're looking to put in about, looks like 9 miles of pipe in Pine Valley, another 20 in Wawa and Reservoirs. Another 14 miles of pipeline is already completed with NEPA, and then they're going to be implementing that this summer. So just some great projects going on. And then right now we're working on the Utah Communication Authority compact lease. We're going to get that done next week.
That's great. Just so you guys know, and I know this is at a different level, but Congress asked us on some locked parcels of BLM ground that aren't accessible to you guys. I don't know if they're even on your radar, but there's a landlocked parcel inside Beaver city limits, and then there's 2 parcels that are down by the fairgrounds. We had it on a, what was that called? The lease, the old original lease on the fairgrounds property.
Originally, Beaver County had the recreation and
public purpose?
Public purpose lease on that, but it expired and we've never renewed it. So we're trying to get that actually just transferred.
Yeah.
It was never patented.
I guess not. You know, we tried to do that, but then during.
It was always proposed to do during the RMP. And the RMP gets pushed off and it's just never gotten done.
Well, the update on that is, so with the Fiscal Responsibility Act passed a couple of years ago, they gave us a 2-year deadline for EISs. It was passed 2 years ago as of June 3rd, so by June 3rd, we either have to complete or cancel all of our EISs that have been pending. We obviously are not going to complete Cedar City RMP by June 3rd, and so you will see a cancellation or a termination notice for that particular effort. Should the Trump administration support that as one of the priorities for resource management planning, we'll move that project forward and start it from the beginning.
Okay.
But since this was tied to it, it looks like we need to handle it separately.
Well, it is being handled separately. So it's part of a land spill, do you know about it, Gary? So Gary's with Senator Lee's office. I know Senator Lee and Congressman Malloy's office have both been working on it. They have all the descriptions and whatever, and it's, hopefully going to be bought under, what's the word for it? Whatever, an appraisal, fair market value,
Oh, okay.
FMP.
Well,
FMP.
Yes.
they would make it, that the county has to purchase it with fair market value?
Yeah.
Oh, that's,
So I don't know, because Paul was trying to get it done, but then there was no, like, the lands for disposal was like squelched, and
yeah,
I don't know.
okay.
I mean, we're using it whether we bought it or not. I mean, we're still using it. Whether you wanna know that, I should have announced that.
We were using it for a lot of years,
We've been using it
too.
for a long time.
Long time.
Homesteaded property now.
Yeah, it probably is.
What is it?
Eminent domain.
No, possession is 9/10 of the law. So, anyway, just so you got that. You know, that's that.
Okay, anything else?
Nothing from us unless there's any other questions from you all.
What do you think about the fire season this year? Is there going to be kind of fire?
You know, my husband is in the fire program, and he always says, ask me in September.
Okay.
He knows, you can't predict. But I will say they're starting to collect fuel moisture samples, and it is very dry out there. We're already starting to pick up several human-caused fires.
Really?
We have fires about every day or every other day at least, especially over the weekends.
This rain should have
Every
solved a few things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
across our color country response area, so
Right.
that's all the way from, you know, the Nevada and Arizona state lines all the way past Kanab and the Monument. So we are seeing fire activity. It is very dry in terms of fuel moisture. It looks like we're gonna see a warming and drying trend coming into summer.
So I assume some restrictions, I would assume.
I think that conversation will start. The wardens and our fire personnel have really tried to set some strict criteria to that so that we have some science backing up our movement into any of those restriction categories. And so that's why they're starting to collect those fuel moisture samples. That's one of the indicators we look at. So certainly if the results come back along with some of the other factors lining up, we'll be having those conversations very soon, I would guess.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you both
Yeah,
for being here,
appreciate
being very
you
patient for our
being
whole meeting, so thank you.
No, we appreciate your time, and we're happy to come visit anytime, or you can reach out to us
Well,
anytime as well.
Since you said that, we will have a COG meeting, we call it, in June. We'll probably want to be back at least, so.
Sounds great. We're happy to come.
Okay.
I can go back, right?
Yeah.
We are gonna do the e-bike, public comment period in June, and that's part of the, of all of the, bike trails, and, just, Cedar City Deluxe and one of them, bench trails.
That's your job.
I didn't hear.
Okay, the e-bike comment period is.
I got that from Mike.
Good,
Yes.
great.
We don't really have any opinion on it.
Yeah, we hope that it is somewhat of a non-issue. I think we have a lot of usage of e-bikes out there anyway.
Well, I think
Yes.
Beaver County
Yeah.
should be in
They're doing it
support. I
anyway,
think we
yeah.
should write some sort of a comment.
We're okay with e-bikes as long as they're not destroying the trails.
Right.
Well, if you
and-
stay on the trails, right?
Right.
That's anyway.
Well, but a lot of the issues is some of these newer
Kids
technical
driving.
motorcycles are tearing things up.
So
We're
this is-
okay with the category of bicycles that like pedal assisted and whatever,
We're-
using our trails, as long as they're not, tearing
Navigate
things
the
up.
trail.
Yeah.
Class 1.
Yep, and so if we saw any of those more motorized types of bikes, then we would have enforcement authority to address those situations at that point. we wouldn't have that under the current situation where we don't have a policy in place.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Do you know anything about the high desert trail? Like, where are we in this southern region?
Yeah, so Jacqueline mentioned, we're just starting with the state to move into the NEPA process. So it sounded like some of the northern counties hadn't quite nailed down exactly where they wanted their trailheads in the alignment. But we are past that now, it sounds like. And so, so we are moving into that NEPA process now. So hopefully that will move
So
relatively
is
quickly.
BLM gonna do that, or is the state gonna do it?
The state is getting a contractor.
Yeah, Dave Jacobson gave me an update, said the Division of Outdoor Recreation is expected to finalize the third-party NEPA contract this week. And then they're gonna kick off do a kickoff and internal scoping, next month. And then the Foundation for Public Lands is assisting with branding and wayfinding for the trail system.
Okay.
And so that looks like there's a public scoping meeting that's tentatively planned for mid to late summer.
Okay.
It's been a long year, long years.
Yes, this one's been around a while.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Okay. Well, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that
Sure,
meeting
would
in
you?
June, and you'll send us the invitation for it?
Just
or-
tell the number.
Okay, that's perfect.
Right. If you give your,
You got a card?
maybe give your contact
Okay.
to Brett,
Maybe give it to Kevin right
Maybe
there.
grab your card.
Going out, and we'll make sure we keep in touch.
Yeah.
I've got Gloria's, I think, so.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you all for coming,
Thank you,
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Gary, do you have anything you wanna suggest to us or talk to us about real quick?
Very briefly,
I told everybody I'm usually not this cheerful, like black is normally my color, but all this rain put me in a really good mood, so I had to wear like my spring.
Good.
Bright spring colors.
I look like an Easter egg.
Very good. So, good to hear from our friends of the Bureau of Land Management. It's good to hear from representation. My name is Gary Webster from Senator Lee's office. I'm his Southern Director. Just a few things, and thanks for a lot of information today that I gained. And it was good seeing several of you at UAC last week. Had some good conversations there. Just a couple of things. From a geothermal perspective, Senator Lee, as Chair of Energy and Natural Resources, he'll actually be visiting this part of the state later in the month with some fairly significant individuals. So watch for that, and that'll be one of those that we'll announce shortly. On the legislative side, he feels very strongly. He just announced some legislation, the App Store Accountability Act, and that will, of course, affect some of our youth in relation to some of the dangerous content that is available, and making sure that some of those regulations can get. Of course, you've heard of the REINS Act. That's something we are working literally daily on to see if we can move the needle there. Also, if you have any, if you've been communicating with Sam in our DC office on the ENR side, as far as these maps regarding the exchange or transfer or purchase or conveyance of these lands here in Beaver County, let me know if you need some assistance there with working with our
I
staff.
haven't not heard from Sam, but I was working with Sam when he was with Celeste.
Yes, if
And
you
then-
need me to.
And then, who's the kid that's, James Levitt's the one that's been doing all the communicating.
Between offices, okay, good. So, making sure that we're covered if you need me to make a call.
It'd be really nice if they took pity on Beaver County and they could just like grant it to us and we didn't have to pay fair market value.
Well.
That's above my.
Okay, that is a great point, and
Yes.
I'm hopeful that we might be able to work through the paths that we have on ENR being a significant figure there. So
Okay.
that's all I have. If you have any questions of our office, but particularly I can't emphasize the fact that this geothermal situation is on Senator Lee's radar, and look for that in
Yeah,
the very near
they're
future.
actually doing, I don't know that the Senate's involved, I haven't heard exactly who, but I have a congressional field hearing next week on it.
Good, because we'll need that 14-day EA situation that our friends at the BLM
Right.
will be tasked with, so.
Right. There they are,
Should be great.
ready and willing.
Will be great. Okay.
Thank you, Gary, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Gary.
All right. Any old business?
No, I don't.
Thanks, Gary.
No, it's been a busy couple of weeks, been trying to cover all the meetings and things, but I don't think I need to bring anything.
Ginger?
Tomorrow, I don't know if you guys are involved or if we're invited, but there is a WUI meeting over in Sevier County. A WUI, the Wildlands Infrastructure.
Urban interface.
Urban interface, yeah. Are you going to that? Yeah, because I missed you out, because we were getting on it. I think I'll go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, we talked about it last week.
Do you know a lot about it? I mean, if you know enough, I won't go.
Well,
They had a big meeting on it.
yeah, they had a big meeting on it.
I kind of want to understand the levy side of it.
Well, I don't think they know, and it's really frustrating that State Forestry and Fire, Trent's probably one that you need to talk to about it.
Kyle.
Trent should know. And Kyle, but Trent's gotta do the assessing, but somebody's gotta assess a fee. Somebody has to rank them, like if they're a high risk, a high medium risk, a high low risk, and then
Okay, so
assess some sort of a fee.
Why not just do a blanket across the board levy, whatever that is, and not rank all this stuff, because it doesn't matter. If you have a catastrophic event,
I know.
it
It's
doesn't
out of our
matter which
hands.
level of class they're
It's
in, you're gonna have to respond.
It's out of our hands, it's another Casey Snyder gift that keeps on giving. And
So do you think it would be beneficial if I go tomorrow? I have plenty to do.
It might, but here's the thing, the way I understand it, is the assessment is gonna be on square footage. So if you have a house, or a mansion, or a cabin, or a shack, you're gonna get assessed whatever the square footage. If the guy in the middle has all this decadent down trees, he's not gonna get assessed anything, and he's the one that starts the fire on this place.
Yeah, that's why.
So there's it's not gonna do what they're thinking it's gonna do. And this is the frustration, so like I've talked to George several times on this, they've already done all these risk assessments. They've been working on WUI forever, but the only ones that get assessed is the people that actually have a structure on their home. That's the way I understand it. I don't know who makes that determination on the actual assessment fee.
Okay. It just made me nervous that it goes into effect January 1 of '26. That's not very long to decide on whatever this is.
No.
And get it on your tax
We had
notice.
Zoom calls, like, last
Yeah,
week,
we've had,
2 weeks ago.
well, we had the Zoom call, has been probably 3 weeks ago
Been that
now.
long ago?
It's been quite a while ago, because we had it just last week. So we had that Zoom call at least 3 weeks ago, probably. So we've been on several meetings over it, but it's state legislators, like, they're not asking our permission or our input, they're just telling us what they're gonna do.
You're gonna have to start.
Even though you've already done your mitigation in your areas, and so like that was the frustrating part. You have your treatment areas. In my opinion, our county is in good shape. There's other areas.
We're in better shape than
Most,
Exactly.
for sure.
100%.
George's done a lot already.
Yeah. Well, yeah, George and the whole team.
Well, and the church
Forest
leadership,
Service,
all of them, yeah.
yeah, everybody has, and they're really frustrated, because nobody, but I would talk to, I don't know if Kyle went to URAC, but I'm
not sure.
I'm
I think he
assuming.
did, at least.
I saw Trent down there, and I didn't really.
Yeah, I knew Trent.
Because we were both just running from one meeting to the other, and I really didn't get a chance to talk to him, so I would assume he might have heard from it too, so maybe talk to him
Okay.
before you go, but any of those meetings would be worth going to,
Yeah.
if you've got time.
I have time tomorrow, that's why it's
I would
tomorrow.
just go.
I thought we're supposed to Rich, so maybe I'll just drive over just so I can hear it in person and.
I would go.
And
you can ask the questions.
Exactly, I can ask the questions and.
Well, we asked plenty of questions on the Zoom. Well, I made a lot of snide remarks, I should say. I don't know that I asked.
See you guys, thank you.
Hey, thanks, girls.
Okay. I think I will.
Anything else?
This is not old business, this is just something this week is National Corrections Officer Week,
Thank
so
you.
we probably gotta recognize.
It's what?
National Correction Officer Week.
So we need to order a whole bunch of donuts?
I don't know.
Send it out there.
I make mention of it.
We should.
Or make mention of it and,
Well, I
We've
think
got to
we,
keep track of all these national weeks.
well, I think we,
That's you.
well, we used to. I think we should send them a big bunch of donuts.
Let's do it.
You wanna do that? Is there anybody that does homemade donuts here?
I think.
Todd's does, but.
Todd does, Mike
Todd
does,
does, Mike
Mike
does.
does, so whatever you want.
Do homemade donuts, or,
Yeah, they make them,
Yeah.
do a shop there.
I would send like 6 dozen at least.
Feed them all for a while.
donuts or brownies, one of the two.
Do what?
Donuts or brownies, that'd
No,
go hot
happy
too.
National Correction Officer.
Yeah,
Don't.
yeah.
Beaver County.
It's the sheriff's office, you guys said no.
Yeah,
Sorry,
okay.
that's a no-brainer, Ginger.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Ginger. Presley, anything else?
Send it to him from the commission and his clerk's office specifically. And Ginger.
His idea.
Ginger can sign it with
Yeah.
love, with love.
All right, then I'm gonna declare meeting adjourned. Thank you.